We've got a great show for you today. We have 5 fantastic developers who are going to share their products with you and answer your questions, not only about their products, but we're going to do a roundtable in the latter half of the show, and we're going to talk about the future of flight simulation. Throughout the show, you can ask questions of our developers, and you can do that one of 2 ways. You can send an email in, and we will grab that and ask that question for you here on the show, or you can go onto our voice server and ask the question yourself. The nice thing about asking it on the voice server is that if your question is selected, then we put your name in the drawing for free software twice, rather than if you ask your question via email, your name. If your question is selected to be on the air, then you go into the drawing one time. You should take a look at the rules for the drawing. They're not complicated at all, but everybody should be aware of them. And right above the web conference stream page on the OVPA website is 3 links. One is the giveaway and the drawing rules, and then the next one is how to format an email question. So that'll give you something you can copy and paste into your email. And the third one is how to log onto our voice server. And I think it's all of about maybe just a few lines. So you can get on the voice server, and usually it takes about less than 2 minutes. So if you're thinking about asking a question, you want to do it on the voice server, then I'd go ahead and take a look at that. If you're watching on YouTube or Twitch, welcome. But if you'd like to interact with us and have a possibility of winning some of our excellent software today, then we hope you join us on our website. Okay. Well, as I was saying before, and you didn't hear me, I have a little bit of a confession to make. I did something about 2 years ago, and said something about a developer and their product that was anything but accurate. And in the past, I had not been a fan of this developer's work. And they came out with a new product. It was roughly about 2 years ago. And instead of looking at that product myself and making an informed opinion about their work, I just relied on what my opinion of their work had been in the past. Not that it was horrific or anything. It just kind of wasn't at the standards that I appreciate personally. And I had shared that my impression of their new product without even having looked at it. And I'd never done anything like this before. And I certainly will never do anything like this again. To be honest with you, while it's no excuse, I was involved in 3 developmental projects for Flight Sim, and I was just a pretty tired guy, so it's probably laziness more than anything. The name of that developer is ImagineSim, and almost 2 years ago ImagineSim came out with a new product, their version 2 of Atlanta, the Atlanta Hartsfield Airport. And as I'm talking, I'd like to show this airport to you guys. Now, they had a version 1 of this airport, and as I said, I was not a fan of that version. But when I was able to take a look at their version 2, it just knocked my socks off. I just thought it was at a level where any scenery, the best scenery in Flight Sim is at. Now, if you're not familiar with Atlanta Hartsfield, it's one of the largest airports in the world. This place is huge. So to take that on as a project is really asking for trouble. And ImagineSim was able to make this airport in very high detail without creating a vast monster, or an out-of-memory monster, if you will. They did a great job, and we're looking at it here now in the video. And in this video, you see a lot around the terminals, but there's so much detail when you get away from the terminals. There's runway 10 and 28 that's a rather new runway at the airport that sits off kind of to the side of the main four runways. I'd say it's not really little. It's 9,000 feet long. It gives you an idea how big this airport really is. And I don't want to ruin the surprise, but there's some really neat stuff that is around runway 28. So if you get this scenery, it's something that you might want to take a look at. Just recently, or somewhat recently, ImagineSim also came out with LaGuardia Airport. LaGuardia is a very special airport. First of all, LaGuardia is smack dab in the middle of New York City, and it's sandwiched in between Newark, New Jersey, and JFK International Airport. It is just a few miles from either one of them. So we're talking about highly congested airspace. It's a smaller airport than JFK, a little bit smaller than Newark, but the really cool thing about flying into LaGuardia is if you come in from the south, so if you're heading north into the New York City area, and the wind is right for runway 31, there is a incredible approach. Not only is it one of the most scenic approaches that you're going to find, because you're in New York City, it's a very challenging and even fun approach to do, and it's called the Expressway Visual for runway 31. So what was killing me over all these years is we did not have a good payware airport for LaGuardia. I used to love to fly. I still do love to fly in there. And ImagineSim gave us this. And not only did they do that, but LaGuardia is under construction right now in the real world. And ImagineSim went and took a look at the plans and took a look at the artist's conceptions, which are fairly accurate from what I can tell. And they made this airport what it's going to be like here in about 24 months. So when the airport's finished in the real world, ImagineSim's airport is going to match that. So it's a keeper. And if you've not flown into LaGuardia before, and give this scenery a try, first of all, it is fantastic. It's not overpriced. Matter of fact, both of their sceneries are very reasonable. I'm very happy with the level of quality that I'm seeing from ImagineSim today. These guys are there's nobody doing better scenery than they are, in my opinion. Certainly there's a lot of people who are at that level, but I think ImagineSim has finally reached up at that level where they're a major competitor for anybody doing scenery and flight simulation today. So one last thing I want to say about ImagineSim. The gentleman at ImagineSim, his name is Cal. And you know, I spoke with Cal about a year ago, and I told him of my confession of what I had done. And he's a stand-up guy. You know, he said, Dave, just don't worry about it. Well, I do worry about it, because I talk with a lot of people, and if I make a mistake like that, it kind of weighs on me. Well, not only did Cal say, hey, just don't worry about it, and Cal offered to donate scenery today to you guys, to our viewers. So ImagineSim is going to donate any scenery that you want. We have 5 copies of their scenery to give out, and it's whatever you want. If you've got 3 of their airports and you want another one, then that's what you get. You get to pick what it's going to be. As a matter of fact, a lot of the developers giving scenery today are doing just that. They're all doing that. So if you purchased ImagineSim before and you weren't quite happy with it, or give them another try. And I mean that sincerely. I'm very happy with their products. I'm very happy with the response and from Cal, and I am enormously happy that ImagineSim supports the flight sim community. And so Cal, if you're listening, and I don't think you are, but if you're listening, my heartfelt thanks to you for being a great guy, and also for donating software to our viewers. That really says a lot. So thank you very much for that. Okay, so I'm off my soapbox. Our first guest today, is Kevin Maynard from FSFX Packages. And Kevin's got a couple of products he's going to show us that, I've seen them and I've used them, and I think they're both game changers. And Kevin, you want to tell us about that?
Yeah, sure. Um, Actually, a few days ago, we announced a product called Chaseplane. Some of you have seen the live stream. If you didn't, after this stream, you can go to the FSFX packages YouTube page or website. We have a blog post about it. It's basically a new camera system for Flight Simulator X and Prepared. We've demoed some of the functions of it, and today we'll demo the remainings of the functions that we didn't show during the presentation. All right, so many of you had questions about the product, and we've gathered a list. And Dave, I sent the list on Skype. We'll actually save some time, and I'll start demoing some stuff right
Yeah,
from the application. And if you
absolutely.
can forward me those questions, I'll answer them directly while showcasing some things.
Okay.
I'll enable the screen sharing here just so that we can get going. Do you guys see the? Yeah. All right. So this is what down. All right. So that's Chaseplane. That's what you saw during the presentation. We've made some changes since the presentation. So we added the copy and paste functionality. So if you want to copy a feature of this preset, let's say, and paste it on another preset, you can directly from the interface. So that's been added since the presentation, and we also changed the icon on top. The rest remains the same. All right, so Dave, if you can, I'll start taxiing so people can see the ground turbulence effect that we haven't demoed yet. And if you can shoot the first questions, I'll start answering them.
You bet. Absolutely. We've got a. Okay, just want to make sure we're clear on the voiceover. Okay, the first question is, and I'm sorry, I'm not gonna be able to pronounce your name correctly, and so please don't be offended. It's from Aquib Afazil. Okay, hopefully I got that somewhat close. I don't know. His question, Kevin, is for you, and let's see here. He wants to know: does Chase Plane solve the biggest problem EasyDock has, especially with large aircraft, where the camera moves around during turns on the ground and in the air? He follows up and says this became a bit of a problem, especially once PMDG released the 777, and it was very noticeable. So anyway, does Chase Plane is it affected by that, Kevin?
I haven't observed this issue. I've read that question, and I think it's the same person who asked it. Um, I guess he should contact us so that we can observe the problem for ourselves and see if it's related to um, P3D FSX or if it's something that's solvable on Chaseplane. Haven't observed the issue, so sadly I can't say if it fixes or not. And I don't know if it's related to EasyDock or if it's related to Opus or if it's related to the default camera system in the sim. So I guess the best answer would be contact us through our support page, and we'll see from there what we can do with that.
Okay, I mean, and I'm sure. I mean, Kevin, you and I both have used it with regional jets like the A330, A321, 737. I know I've not noticed anything like that with those aircraft, but we're certainly not. They're not as big as the 777.
Yeah, well, the size of the aircraft will not matter in this case because it's a matter of the camera moving by itself, I
Yeah.
guess, if I understand the question
Yep,
right.
that's right. That's what he said. Yeah.
So it's
Dave,
something related to, it's programmatically something that.
Dave, can I just jump in? I am familiar with this bug, and I think it's something that happens the further away you are from the equator, then the more the camera. So if you kind of shift your camera view around and shift it back, the camera seems to have moved kind of laterally, but not a lot, just make a couple of centimeters, but enough for you to have to kind of hit the hotkey and kind of move it back to where you were. The camera seems to slew around. Apparently, it's got something to do with where you are in the kind of sim world. It's quite a well-known bug, but like you say, you probably wouldn't notice it unless you were told about it.
That's a good.
Yeah.
That you know what that is actually a great point. And Kevin, that kind of leads to another thing about chase plane. Essentially, we're talking about an uncaged camera, aren't we? I mean, it can be uncaged, I should say.
What do you mean by uncaged?
Okay, so it's not. It could be operated where it's not tied to the aircraft itself. It's not caged to the aircraft. So that being the case, I'd be. I mean, at least when it's operating in externally, I would be surprised if it had this problem. But you know what? Kevin's the expert. But
yeah, well, we have 3 view modes in chase plane. We have the cockpit view, and we have the other one here, the outside view. And then we'll have a world camera that's being developed right now. It's not functional, but it's being developed for the alpha version, where you'll be able to roam around the planet, literally, move around freely without being attached to the aircraft.
I'm impressed by it. I tell you that much.
And that's one of the questions that I've seen on forums as well, is if there was a world or static camera included in a chase plane, and the answer is yes, there is one. And it's going to be more intelligent than what you're used to as well. In the presets list, let me change it here. In the presets list now, we have it's written no camera in your area. So basically what it's going to do, it's going to take all your lists of camera, and instead of showing it all to you at all time, it will only select the ones and show you the ones that are in your immediate area. So if you're in the Montreal airport, you'll see the cameras around Montreal. If you're in Alaska, you'll see, depending on where you are, those cameras there. And this also works with the community. So if someone else builds a camera in Alaska, then you'd be able to have it on that list as well.
Kevin, I have your next question for you, sir. Can we expect to see Precipitation FX, the 737 immersion, or chase plane come to X-plane 10 or 11?
So we're looking into it. Obviously, X-plane 11 hasn't been announced yet. We don't have access to, we have the same data that you guys have to the public right now. But the future looks promising. They're working on a particle system. They're working on a few things that are going to be very, very interesting in the future. So we're definitely looking into it.
I tell you, I love having you guys here because you bring up things that, and I don't want to digress here, but X-plane is very much a project that's continually under development, and that to their credit. It's not here we made this and that's it. So as the future rolls along, who knows what we're going to really see with X-plane? I mean, they're in a position to adapt new technology rather easily. So yeah, that's a good point. By the way, that was Jamal Weston who had that question. Ben, I don't think he's a relative of yours, is he?
No relation.
Okay. Well, another question from Peter Home. Let's see. I'm sorry, Peter Horn. Saw your preview of the of chase plane the other day, and I think he had although on the most of the option, if you adjust it, you can. Let me see if you can before saving. I'm not sure what the question is. If you adjust it, how about can you? Not getting the gist of the question. Tell you what, let me come back to your question, Peter. I do apologize. I'm just not getting it. If you could resend it though, that would be great. It's
Oh, and by the way,
I don't want to give up on
just
that.
because we can. Right now we're flying the Twin Otter by Aerosoft. Matthias, this is your aircraft. Very good aircraft.
Thanks.
I recommend it.
I hope this was a press copy, Kevin.
Yeah. No, actually, I actually bought it.
Oh, well, there you go. Even better.
The extended version.
Oh, I see. Okay, I think I understand Peter's question. He's asking about the settings, I believe. and he wants to know if you can adjust them, and if they'll be. I think he's asking if they'll be automatically saved as you adjust them, or do you have to hit save?
Oh, yeah, you have to hit save. Well, currently, the way we think about this is if you're going into the controls and moving the camera around, if you want to go on the overhead, let's say, and adjust some sliders or whatever, you don't necessarily want your captain preset to be left with this position, right? If you hit the reset button, it's going back to the previous location. All
Yeah.
right, so there's always a save button here to confirm the changes you want to make to your camera.
Yeah. Now,
We'll have a keyboard shortcut and joystick shortcuts to save changes when you press the button, but you have to save those presets from here.
all right. And Peter, if I didn't get your question right, my friend, would you please resubmit it? We'll make sure we get you an answer. Okay. So my apologies for kind of slaying your question. Okay. The next question is from Sandro Vatellini, and Sandro asks, does Chase Plane include a recording or a replay function, or is it only a camera tool? That's a great question.
Yeah. Currently, we are working on getting the cameras to work properly. But once that's done, we'll be migrating to an extension of Chase Plane. It's going to be a pro version, or I don't know what we'll call it yet, but it will include replay system and playback system that works with the camera. So if you record a landing, let's say, you'll be able to play back your landing, move the camera, record the camera, and then play back the flight with the movements of the camera.
Any
So you'll be able to record exactly the same flight and the same camera angles at multiple times. So that's the target with the application. But we first need to get the cameras working right.
Kevin, a follow-up question: would it ever be possible to record a flight and then use a product like X-Plane or some derivative of that to change camera angles after you've already done the flight?
Yeah, well, that's what they mean by replay system. That you record the flight path, you record the aileron position, you record everything, and then you're able to play it back like an instant replay in the simulator.
There you go.
So it's basically a replacement for what we know today as FS Recorder. That's not been updated for prepared. That's why people are asking for it.
Outstanding. I'm going to jump on the voice server real quick there, Kev, if you want to wrap it up, my friend.
Yeah, sure.
I love those acts.
We're out of time, right? It's been,
not just about. One of the things I was really impressed with is how easy, especially compared to other products, how easy it was to assign axes.
Yes. I haven't shown that.
No, I tell you, yeah, absolutely, yeah. I mean, I was very impressed by this.
So basically, you go into preferences, and the picture, the teaser that we had for the CPU assignment on our Facebook page, that was this part here. We're able to enable and disable CPUs individually, or let the system decide for himself what CPU must be enabled or not. All right. So we haven't shown this before, but then yeah, that's a quick feature. We have some features here as well, and this is the control panel. Control panel, you can assign axis, buttons, and keys. And when you click on an assignment here, let's say the button here to move forward, if I use my POV here, or if I use some buttons, it will label the actual joystick name and the Xbox controller here as well. And if I have some axis, then it shows here, right brake, left brake, that's my rudder. All right, and you can set the actual dead zone here as well. So that, Dave, you didn't see because the time when I demoed it to you, it was not as polished as this. But then now it's really, really smooth. You can see directly there what's the input, and when you click confirm, it saves it into place. Now it's the axis that I've set.
That's very cool. That is very, very cool.
Yeah, that's our control features. And also, last thing, someone mentioned, and that's one of the questions that we had a lot, is if you're able to set shortcut keys for presets. When you hold control, you get into edit mode. So you can rename, you can move, you can delete, and you can also assign shortcuts. So for this preset, let's say I press H, then it's going to be shown here in gray, H, to remind us that's the shortcut for the captain camera. So if I hit H, you're in captain camera.
Hey,
So that's
Kevin.
another question that people had.
Yeah, and Kevin, speaking of another question, we have Peter, who is visiting us in our web conference here, and I mean, sorry, on the voice server. And Peter has a question for you. Peter, can you hold on here? Peter, you want to go ahead and ask your question of Kevin?
Okay. Hi, Kevin.
We don't hear him.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, that's because I didn't get virtual audio cable up.
On the sliders, you said you can right-click the slider and it will put it back to what it was originally.
Hold on.
Is there going to be something where if you hover over it, it reminds you of that, even though you said there's a save button above?
Okay, so his question is that if you make a change and you forget to hit save, will there be a reminder, like if you hover over it, that will remind you that it's not saved? And Peter, thank you so much for that.
Currently, to remind you that it's unsaved, we have a small green dot here next to the camera. If you move a camera like this and you want to, let's say you're moving in chase mode here and you want to go back to the cockpit, we'll not make a reminder there. That we're not going to tell you that you have an unsaved preset, because it's going to get annoying over time. But if you're moving from outside to inside, let's say I just got to the captain and co-pilot and I'm playing around in the inside view. If you press the outside view here, it's going to go back to where you left it previously. And that's true for the slider, the turbulence slider as well. That's true for the entire preset. So that's a way of keeping the preset without actually saving it.
You know, I have to tell you, I've tried other products that are supposed to function, supposed to do the same thing as Chase Plane. And I'm a fairly savvy guy, but I had nothing but frustration with these things. And I spent a lot of hours trying to get these other products to work. And Kevin, I jumped right in and started using your product just enormous. I mean, just so quickly. And I think part of that is because you shared with me what controller you're using. What controller are you using?
I'm using an Xbox controller.
Can you show it?
Here.
Yeah.
Actually, I was using the keyboard just now, but if I want to do cinematic stuff, then I'll use the joystick like I'm doing now. Then now I'm just not flying the aircraft, but the camera is all that matters, right?
I tell you, I read the manuals on these other products, and I read them, and I kept referring back to them. I didn't. It's still in development. There is no manual to read, and I felt very comfortable using this product within 5 minutes. I have to be honest with you. So, my hat's off to you, my friend. It's a great product.
That's a good feedback. I really appreciate.
Yeah,
We try to make it as easy as possible.
Well, Kevin, I thank you very much for sharing your excellent work with everybody. Thank you so very much.
No problem. And if people have questions, just keep them coming on the Facebook page. We'll answer as many as possible now that the conference is over. We'll ask as many. We'll answer as many questions as we can.
Make me be the bad guy. Well, see, again, thank you so much. That's an incredible. Oh, you know what? You want to say just a 1 or 2 minutes on your next immersion package?
Yeah, well, we have Q400 immersion coming. Many people are waiting for it. Basically, we'll be releasing it by the end of the year. Right now, Chase Plane takes a lot of our time, but as soon as we get an alpha to you guys, we'll be concentrating on making the Q400 immersion available to as many people as possible. The beta went very well. The pilots who flew with it are very satisfied with the product right now. So it's to a point now where we are basically ready to release it, but we need to do all the marketing material and everything to go with it. So in November, December, we'll have something available for everyone.
I tell you, I liked it a lot myself, and I'm a Q400 guy, heart and soul. So just having something like that is really special. Thanks, Kevin.
No problem.
And guys, we'll be talking with Kevin. If you have more questions for him, you can you can still send them in, and we'll ask those questions in the later half of the show. Next up is a new friend of mine. It's Stephen Hood from Dovetail Games, and I had to say we are really delighted, Stephen, to have you with us and to hear directly from Dovetail Games about what's going on in your world. So what's going on in your world?
Many things. So first off, thank you for inviting me. I feel part of this privileged group now, where I can talk about all things flight simulation. But of course, I'm the new kid on the block. We're busy making the full flight simulator after the release of Dovetail Games Flight School. So there's been many an hour in the office where people are busy working at their keyboards, trying to create the future of flight simulation. Very exciting time at the moment. Lots to do, but as I was mentioning earlier, I've been on holiday for a week, so I managed to avoid some of that work really recently.
Hey, I wasn't familiar with Dovetail Games before you guys got a hold of that license from Microsoft. What do you? I don't know if you were a part of that, but why did Dovetail Games get involved in flight simulations? Because you didn't. That's not what Dovetail Games was doing before, is it?
No. Dovetail have been in existence now for less than 10 years. It's around 2008, 2009. They were formed by three guys: Charlie McMicking, Tim Gatland, who's our resident pilot in the studio, big driving force behind what we're doing, and a chap called Paul Jackson, CEO. They were in train simulation for a long time, and more recently we've released Eurofishing, fishing simulator, and Flight Sim. Actually, for me, was where I became very aware of Dovetail. There's a reason I got involved with them when they had that announcement, and I think that woke a lot of people up in the Flight Sim space when the deal with Microsoft was signed. Who are these new guys coming into the space? But really, for us, it was a natural extension to create another sim and to get into flight simulation, which I think, personally, I feel probably needed another developer to come on board and try to push a few things forward and be proactive, perhaps proactive as some of the third-party developers, but on the development side.
Well, I tell you, it was I can remember just 5 or 6 years ago that many of us were talking in the forums and offline, concerned that there would be no future development of a new flight simulator, and then so I was rather shocked. I think it's important to distinguish something here. Lockheed Martin with Prepared, or P3D, is heading and they're picking up the pace. They're heading in a commercial direction, and they've been able to not only have a slew, just hundreds and maybe thousands of beta testers in our community without putting them on the payroll, and we've benefited from that. Absolutely, we've got a tremendous simulator, but their goal is commercial. And if you take a look at the money in the commercial market versus where we're at, I don't know, but I worry that that we may get dusted at some point with compatibility issues, and we're getting ready to see a little bit of we saw some just recently with version 3 when it was released, and then they came back out with 3.35 to kind of quell the grumbling. But they said themselves that this is coming, the breaking of some compatibility. But here's Dovetail Games, essentially working with the same engine, and you guys are in the entertainment end of things.
Sure. I think it's worthwhile pointing out that one of the words you kept using there was kind of compatibility, and one of the things I noticed when I came to the space was how extreme, the kind of extreme length some people had to go in order to continue their hobby at times, in order to ensure that they had the right kind of add-ons installed in the right kind of way, the right kind of machine, the right kind of setup. And I think a lot of people in this space continue to do that because of their love of aviation and flight simulation. And I'd been out of this space for a long, long time. I'd been doing motorsports, and coming into this space, it was such a shock for me to think that, wow, this is such a kind of magical subject that so many people would love to get involved in. And I think quite a few of them are still put off by the fact that they don't know where to start. What add-ons do I need? Where do I go? What machine do I need? How do I install all of these? What is this black art that the existing community have built up over a number of years? So it's a very difficult space to break into, even if you really want to engage with flight sim.
Sure.
And I think one of the things that we've been trying to do is set about tidying that up, and at the same time try and move the technology forwards. So we built on top of FSX, and we started there because it had all the key ingredients that I thought were special for flight simulation today, and I thought we wanted to carry those over, extend them over time, and actually begin overhauling the engine, because it is 10 years old, and start to take advantage of modern machines and modern standards and modern working practices to create a better platform, if you like, for developers, consumers, flight sim aficionados, and just try and drive this stuff forward. But it doesn't happen overnight. But I'm incredibly excited about what we are doing, and time will tell whether or not we're heading in the right direction. I'm sure we are.
Well, I was talking with actually it was with Reed here a week ago or so, and we were talking about that very subject. And Reed made a very good point about Microsoft had many years and many platforms to perfect their flight simulator with. Reed, you want to jump in on that?
Yeah, I was just saying that that you think about the history of flight sim and how long it's taken them. They've really, I know there's many out there that just get frustrated at the platform and so forth with the bugs and issues and things of that nature. But when you sit back and think about the fact that they've modeled the entire world in over 24,000 airports over that world, and it's pretty amazing when you think about it, and just to see what you guys are going to do with it down the future is going to be pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, I've got nothing but respect for what Microsoft did. As a developer who's started to look at the code and see what they've done over the past few years, to this day, each and every day, I'm astonished at some of the stuff that they've achieved. And I thought, wow, I didn't know that was in there. Oh, wow, they went to that length of modeling that. I think it was, staffed by some real pilot and flight sim fanatics, if you like, who were just trying to make a great sim under the guise of Microsoft. And it's a great platform for us to kind of jump on board with and start to extend, because the team's experience is really with engines and modern techniques, and I think you will start to see that come through in the new flight simulator. And all the while we're gaining knowledge and hoovering up experts to enable us to extend what it is at its heart, which is a representation of flight simulator. But there is so much to do, and the code base is so huge. But who doesn't like a challenge?
Yes,
Stephen, can I ask you a question about code? Because you're a coder, you understand this stuff better than we do. Famously in FSX, the idea in the community is that it's quite badly coded, and it was quite badly put together, and that's why it doesn't run very well on modern machines. You're the guy that understands code, and you can see the code that they did. Is it good code? Is it bad code? Or is it just that it's immensely complex, and that's why there are challenges with running it?
So two things. Let me start with the fact I'm not a coder, but I do work with the coders. So I don't want to kind of steal their glory by pretending that I know as much as them. Sometimes I suggest that I do, but they throw it back in my face. The feedback that I get all the time is, they have created a huge code base, this huge framework for flight simulation, and it does become incredibly difficult to kind of continue with that code base making minor modifications as the progress and the march of change in machines, it just spirals out of control. And I think that's what happened with FSX, where they were, re-engineering a lot of this content for flight and made a lot of smart decisions on that code base, to be perfectly honest, and they probably didn't get time to complete that. So what they had done was very good, but with any kind of code base that has been evolving over a number of years, inevitably you get to a point where you think, we can find a smarter way of doing this and harness today's machines in a very different way. You can't always predict these things, especially when it comes to PCs that have evolved quite rapidly. And we're just trying to unpick that ourselves and make the right calls in specific areas. And when we developed, something like flight school, a lot of that stuff was under the hood. We're changing the engine, and you'd have people internally who would say, are the consumers going to notice anything different here overnight? Well, they won't. But we're not doing this to just try to make a quick buck overnight. We're doing this for the long term of the product and what we see as the future of flight sim, to try and get it fit for the next 10 years, if you like.
Okay, Steve and Stephen. By the way, you prefer Stephen or you prefer Steve?
You can go for Steve.
Yeah. Okay.
People say that if they're shouting at me. So
yeah, we've got a series of questions here for you, and we're getting close to cutting into Matthias's time, so we're gonna. I could talk to you forever, by the way, because you get somebody that you've never had these long conversations with about something you care so deeply about, and
I love it. When the show finishes, we'll all continue. Why don't we do that?
Yeah. Well, we'll air it if you don't mind. Because I like to share it with everybody. Okay, so got a question here. Several questions. The first one I'm going to take is from Bob Skip. His question is about Dovetail Games Flight School. Will there be any more content coming to Flight School in the near future?
Short answer is no. The most recent piece of content that we did launch, which everybody knew about in advance, was the Diamond DA42. Lovely aircraft. We could have built that product in the sense of trying to bring new people into space, who we weren't really kind of, if you like, trying to offer up new content to. We were just offering them a new experience, i.e., let's engage with a flight simulator and see what it's like. I think so many people have actually lost contact with the flight simulation space. As when you start talking to people, they'll say, I used to play it years ago, or I used to love, reenacting a local flight, or, trying to learn what it means to be a pilot in today's world. They've just lost contact with all of that. So Flight School was for those guys. It wasn't about creating loads of new experiences for them and giving them loads of new content so that they could craft the experience they were totally after. That's the reserve of the follow-on flight simulator, the full thing that we are working on at the moment. So we're not adding any content to that.
There's something so positive about that. I say this quite often. To me, the most important person in the entire flight sim community is the newest person that we have, because without new people, our community would really just shrivel up. I mean, if we didn't replace people who lost interest, and I'll tell you, we're doing a lot more than that from what I've been seeing in the last 3 or 4 years. Our community is really growing. And that's what keeps the developers here. And it's the developers who, in my 30 years in flight simulation, who have pushed us to where we're at. I mean, the third-party developers took and produced add-ons for Microsoft Flight Simulator for many years, and gave us levels of immersion that quite frankly, I don't know that Microsoft ever envisioned. So
undoubtedly. I mean, there's an amazing amount of creativity and development effort out there that has kept flight simulation alive. And I've only been in this space for 18, 24 months, but I found myself hoovering up that content. it was with the company credit card, if I admit that now. I'm saying, yeah, I love that add-on. I love that aircraft. I love that scenery pack. I want that. I need that.
Yes.
There's some amazing content out there.
Absolutely.
So what we're going to try and do is just provide a stronger platform, a better structure for people to enjoy that. Because I think actually a lot of people are still missing out, and we can make this a lot bigger.
We're getting a little interference. Sounds like somebody's playing with tape or something. Is that you, Ben?
No, well, it's his microphone rubbing on his T-shirt.
Is that rubbing now? Is it?
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay. It's the boat is bobbing up and down.
Yeah, it's the boat bobbing around.
Yeah.
Okay, good deal. Well, thank you. For knowing that. Can I get to the next question? Let's see. It's from Michael. I think Michael's a friend of mine, actually. It says let's see here. He owns Flight School, and the product runs smooth, but has a haze in the distance. Will the looks of the upcoming Flight Sim, not Flight School, be the same, or will it be different?
Oh, I like the fact that he said, "Will it be different?" rather than "Will it be better?" Because as a developer, that gives me a massive out to kind of say, "Yeah, it's going to be green." No, I mean, in truth be told, one of the things that we did notice, and I do take a great deal of personal interest in trying to read everybody's feedback. I lurk on all the different forums. I hear what people are saying. I don't kind of shut any of the criticism off. I care, and the only way we're going to improve is if we listen to people and make the right judgment calls. I'd say that it was more of a kind of artistic take from our previous lead artist on the haze and the general lighting effects, and it is going to be improved. Yes, I think there's been a lot of work on lighting and visuals for the upcoming sim, because we started that with Flight School. The problem was we moved a number of the features forwards, and it's very difficult to balance them all. So if they're slightly out of whack, you can find a really good lighting situation in one part of the world in a particular time of day. It doesn't quite work elsewhere at a different time of day in a different location in that huge world. We've been working to kind of overcome those things, and I think the visuals, whilst probably for me are not the most important aspect of a flight simulator, they do play a huge part in, if you get it wrong, it's distracting, and we are going to rectify that, and I think it will look a whole lot better, beginning with the product that we'll launch later this year.
Oh, nice. Very nice. Hey, our next question is from Lars Nielsen, and Lars, by the way, runs flightsim.com, and as long as I have the right Lars, and I think I do, so if that's it, by the way, it's been many years, Lars, since you and I have spoken. You probably don't remember me, but anyway, welcome to the stream, and here's Lars' question. What kind of end users do you target with the new sim, and will it be more VFR based than IFR? Are you going to go away from the original FSX concept?
I'm not looking. Okay, so this is an interesting question, because I think when Dovetail came into the space, people wondered what we were going to do with flight simulation. Who are these guys? Do they care about this world? Who is this guy that's heading up the project? He was making arcade games on consoles before. I've heard it all. I've read it all in forums. People love to take you down. I'm not going to turn this into a video game. It is going to be a flight simulator. I'm not looking to change what FSX was overnight, i.e. this launch product. I'm not looking to bolt anything completely new on and change the world. I just want to make it a higher fidelity simulation that looks a lot better, that provides a smarter platform for people to create amazing add-on content, and I want to create a platform that's going to stand the test of time and enable us to do some very interesting things in the future, in the coming months, in the coming years. And I do have a lot of ideas as to what that will be. The concept in my mind is always about driving home realism, and I want to improve the concept of realism, and I want to play on what it's like to be a pilot in today's world, in any type of aircraft, in any type of scenario, anywhere in the world.
we have as an interesting point. We have realism and we have immersion, and both of those are really different. And both of realism and immersion has been pushed forward. My goodness, a tremendous amount, especially in the last 5 years. We've seen things happen that I didn't think we would see with the current platform with FSX. And yet here we have it, amazing levels of both realism and immersion. What's more important to you as a developer, realism or immersion?
Well, I'm a producer these days, more recently, or creative director. And for me, realism is the most important to begin with, because I think that's what we're trying to deal with here. And the immersion comes a very close second, because I think without the latter, it becomes a huge distraction. You feel like you're playing something created by some technicians in a laboratory, rather than really being a pilot, being in an aircraft, and that's what we're trying to capture. But you can't really have the sense of immersion really without the realism. So, it's a constant kind of nudging one another up that staircase to make the perfect experience.
Well, that's a great answer, by the way. They do complement each other, and as one moves forward, I think the other one sometimes has to as well. Don't you think?
Yep.
Okay, our next question is from Sebastian. And Sebastian, my friend, I would love to say your last name, but there's no way that I'm going to say it. But I mean, you wouldn't forget. You would never forgive me if I tried it. So just forgive me for not trying it then. Okay, his question is about the upcoming flight sim. Are the changes done to FSX to make the new flight sim big? Are they big changes that will break compatibility for previous? That's a great question, for previous add-ons, or there will be or will there be, or will there only be necessary for developers to do a quick fix? Okay, yeah. So break it and break existing add-ons, or is it something that developers can adapt to?
So I would have no qualms personally about nuking all of this and starting afresh if it meant a huge leap forward. And so that was never off the cards. But what has transpired as we've made these changes is that a lot of the content does function and does behave well in the new flight simulator. And depending on the specific content or the actual developer and what they've done, sometimes there are only minor changes required in order to make it compatible with the new simulator. We have put a lot of content in there. We've been working with a lot of third-party developers, and we've shifted their content into the new simulator and said, oh wow, this is working almost as we'd expect, apart from this, this, and this. And you can go back and fix it if you wish to make it fully compatible by doing X, Y, Z. So it's actually turned out a lot better than I imagined, and I'm sure we will find some developers that will work a lot quicker than others and get on board with the changes that are required for their content in order to make it look as good as it should in the new simulator and take advantage of the new technology and engine.
Yes, sir. Yeah, great point. Okay, our next question is from Mads Granum. I hope I got that right. Okay, it's a question also about the upcoming flight sim. No surprise that this is on everybody's mind, is it?
No, it's on mine.
Yeah.
Day in, day out.
I bet. Will that new flight simulator support multiple monitors running on one computer? And will it be able to use our Orbix detailed scenery like terrain regions and Orbix pay-aware airports?
So first of all, multiple monitors, yes. We have a number of those setups in the office where, especially the programmers tend to run with 3 or 4 screens. There's a lot of work that's been done under the hood of the engine in order to begin improving the performance for that kind of setup. the original code base, as amazing as it was for a 10-year-old product in FSX, wasn't great in that regard. A lot of people run multi-monitor setups now. So we are improving that, improving the performance, because what we're doing day in, day out is, whilst we're improving the engine and making it look a lot better, incorporating new systems into it, that has a hit on performance. And work has to be shifted onto the performance engineers in order to try and regain that. And we've made huge advancements in terms of performance, and we've eaten some of it up with putting the new systems and new rendering effects into it. So it's a constant battle, but I have no doubt it's going to perform a lot better than FSX out of the box when it comes to multi-monitor. And the Orbex packs, it won't be a case of just copying your content across. There's going to be some balancing work done, and that's going to be on a developer and pack by pack basis, I'm sure.
Sure. Now,
I have a question to add on that, for the multi-monitor question. You see, I have a 34-inch display here, ultra wide. Currently in FSX and P3D, when you stretch that wide, you get a lot of distortion. Now with the latest Pascal GPUs, you have multi-projection thing. I don't have the details, but I know that it alleviates some of those issues. Is this a technology that you're looking into?
Oh, we're certainly looking into that, yeah. There's one dedicated guy who's dealing with this stuff every single day. If you look at his schedule, he's probably the only guy that doesn't have specific tasks given to him. He's given a mission, which is look at the technology, look at the performance, and give us everything you can before release. That is a cool job to have. The guy could just sit back and say, I'll just give them one or two things. But he loves this, and he's actually been in flight simulation for a long time. So he's driving this home. So I can't wait to see what we get by December, because what we have already is quite cool. But he's going to be doing this ongoing. We're just going to keep financing the performance and the technology. And I think it needs to be done because we're trying to catch up. So there's a lot of work to be done.
That's a great answer. Yeah. Thanks a lot.
Yeah. Hey, by the way, what's the what are you guys going to use for the graphics engine for the new flight sim? 11, DirectX 11, 12, OpenGL. I mean,
it's DX11. It starts with DX11 certainly. It takes the foundations from FSX, Microsoft Flight Simulator, and a lot of that content in the internals have been reworked. I mean, you saw it being reworked with Flight School for the bits that you could see visibly, but under the hood, there's been, an incredible amount of work done in order to prepare this engine for the future. And a lot of the community was saying, why don't you just throw it all away and begin again? You probably see something in 20 years.
Yeah, that's about right. I think
a lot of the stuff in FSX was incredible. We're finding cool stuff day in, day out. Really hats off to Microsoft for doing that, and the Aces team, a lot of whom we still work with today. But there's a lot to be done. That code base is huge, and we've got to start somewhere, and I'm sure we're on the right track.
All right.
I have a quick yes/no question. Cloud Shadow.
No. It's 50-50. Sorry, go for it again. Cloud Shadows.
They're not.
Technically, yes, as we've played around with it. Will we release it for December? I don't like releasing stuff unless it's near final. And the reason I don't like doing that is because there's this battle in my mind between kind of the business and the creative, which is sometimes instead of just incrementally updating a few things, I'd rather rip out an entire module, an entire experience, and replace it with something completely new, so that it all works together to give you that wow moment, so that we can ensure it all works in harmony. When we begin trying to replace individual components, let's say we just did cloud shadows, but we don't do any other effects on the aircraft, and no precipitation on the aircraft model itself. I want to do, squeegee effects and water on the runways. Even though this is a flight simulator, I care about all those details. What I care about is compiling them into a complete pack so that we move the game forwards rather than just drip feeding some elements. So we have been playing around with cloud shadows. Will they make that for December? If they're good enough, we will. Otherwise, we'll hold it back a little bit longer.
All right.
But we're gonna get there.
Okay.
Good
Um,
answer.
okay. So we have looks like two questions from Paul Bloomfield. Bloomfeld. I'm sorry, Paul. Okay. So hi, Stephen. What are your thoughts on the market fragmentation within the sim community, with many people still on the FSX platform and many transitioning to P3D? Do you worry that the developers might not have the appetite to add compatibility to yet another potential sim from Dovetail?
Do I worry about it? Not really. Um, do I care about it? Yes. Am I aware of it? Yes, I have been for a long time. Uh, I don't care about it in the sense that I'm not worried, because it's our job to make an attractive platform, an attractive flight simulator. And if we do our job, then I think there's nothing to worry about. Um, do I think that the market fragmentation and, you know, multiple interests of the developers and the different platforms they got support, do I think that's going to slow down the march of progress towards Dovetail Flight Simulator? Yes, probably. And I'd be more worried if this was just a one-shot project that we were going to put out at the end of the year and walk away from. I would worry then. But this is the beginning of us trying to reinvigorate, you know, flight simulation. And if we get that right, I think people will naturally over time gravitate to us. Everybody in this space is pretty much, you know, there for the business as well as the love, and we've got to make an attractive platform and proposition for people to contribute towards.
Sure.
And I think we are doing that by trying to make people's lives easier and trying to make it look a whole lot better than the competition.
There you go. That's well said. Well said. Our next question is from Bob Skip. Sorry, I did. Did we ask that? My wife's telling me we had. No, I don't think I did.
I remember that name, Bob Skip.
Yeah.
Don't skip Bob.
Will full SIDS and stars be implemented? It was slightly annoying that I had to pay for extra Navigraph subscription in FSX. You know, let me inject something about that. I certainly understand the feeling that you buy a product and and then you have to buy something else to go along with it. I mean, I do understand that. I do. Where Navigraph is concerned, just a little history. Going back many years, the gentleman who put Navigraph together, put him on the map, so to speak, who did all this amazing work, used to put his product out to the flight simulation community for free. In fact, he did this at a time when we had a rather large number of freeware developers in the community. I mean, one tremendous one that comes to mind is a group. I bet Matthias remembers them, the ISD team, who just put out some incredible scenery, and for FS9, and it was many years later until before anybody matched it even in FSX. It's just some great stuff. So this fella did an amazing amount of work to convert all of this information, and then he just gave it to people. And the only reason he started charging was to cover his costs. Now, because of the amount of people buying the product today, I'm sure he's gone a little over covering his costs. But you know, for the many years that he provided that to the community, and even if I maybe I wasn't in that community back then. I mean, I was, but you know, even if somebody wasn't, he did it for the community. You know, the community is the community, and we have a very long history. Whether you're brand new to the community, you're an old guy like me, you know, trying to figure out what to do next. So, but I do understand. I do that you buy something and you know, now I got to buy something else to go with it. But it is not required to buy nav data at all. So you don't really have to do it. But I do understand what you're saying. But so I'm sorry. See, I didn't mean to take that away from you, brother. But
no. I mean, I think it's an interesting question. I think flight simulation, from what I've seen, is incredibly rich in the sense that there are a great many experiences and applications and data and add-ons and all sorts of things that you can plug into this experience. And there's no way that Dovetail or any developer really can on day one incorporate everything that everybody wants. We all dream of doing that, but the CEO hasn't come to me with a blank sheet of paper and blank check and said, hire everybody that you want and put everything in that you've ever imagined for flight simulation. That's the kind of thing I dream about. That doesn't happen in reality.
It would take longer than 20 years too, wouldn't it?
It'd probably take longer than 20 years. Yeah. I mean,
$20 billion.
You get him, Ben.
I'm on a salary, so I would make sure it lasted, 40 years. That would be fine by me. The thing is, we're going to try and make the platform where a lot of these experiences can be better harnessed and integrated into the simulator. And we have put an incredible amount of investment into trying to update the data. We've been updating all the airports and all the kind of magnetic variation that's occurred in the world over the past 10 years. Why? PR and marketing guys probably don't care about that. But I think it's for the.
There we have some echo.
Yeah, we're getting echo. Echo.
How's that? I can still hear myself.
Yeah, Matthias, if we can.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah, okay.
How's that?
Is that all right?
Yep.
See, Kevin's got that little radar. He knows whoever it is, man. He zeroes right in on him. He's like, yeah,
he's
Matthias.
the stream police.
Yeah, that's it.
I'll give tickets.
Listen, Stephen, we've gone a little over time, and believe if it was up to me, then I'd talk to you all night, and we might just do that. And I have so many questions, and I know you've seen the questions that I have, and I didn't want to ask them because I want the viewers to be able to ask them. We just had another question come in actually, but would you so much more to ask you? Will you come back again and speak with us?
I would love to. I mean, I find it really interesting, dangerous at the same time because people can ask whatever they want. But I always try to kind of give an honest answer, and I'm not going to try and pull the wool over people's eyes. I'm just going to say, this is what I'm going to try and do, and tell you what's going on in my mind.
Okay, I'm just. We had another question come in, and trying to figure out what it is here. It's kind of lengthy. 1 second. Okay, with the initial release of Dovetail Flight Sim, do you plan to A, provide a basic simulation of all functional areas such as weather and air traffic control, just like FSX did, or B, put a more detailed focus on fewer areas, so more detailed focus on a smaller number of areas, rather than a more general focus on a lot of areas, I guess, and with other areas to be further developed later on by yourself and third party. He says, by the way, there's no right or wrong answer. He just wants to know how you feel about it.
Great, I love it. I love giving answers to things where I can't get it wrong. I'd say that it's going to come with all the kind of content in terms of pilot experiences FSX had. We're not trying to remove content. We did with Flight School. We did remove experiences with Flight School because we were trying to rebuild it. But for the full flight simulator, this is the kind of thing I think that the community will want to get their hands on and will enjoy. It will come with fewer experiences in terms of the aircraft types to begin with, because I'm not massively interested in trying to stretch ourselves so that we can cover everything from a microlight all the way over to a heavy airliner. I actually want to deliver those experiences when there's something to show for it. The work that we have done recently makes me think that we will accelerate and expand the types of aircraft experiences that we're able to offer quicker than I first thought. But we are concentrating on a particular area of aviation to begin with, and then we'll expand that. There was a question earlier where somebody was saying, is it just going to be a VFR simulator? Because Flight School pretty much was. We are expanding into kind of IFR, and we are going to be looking at weather conditions and the weather and all of this stuff. it just doesn't all happen overnight.
Okay, all right. Listen, I got some more questions for you, Stephen. We're going to put those on hold because we've really cut into Matthias's time here, and
Sorry.
he's going. No, not your fault. Nobody's fault. And you know he's going to have to run, and so we're gonna speak with Matthias now. I know there's a lot of people that want to hear from him. What's going on with the CRJ? What's going on with the A330? What's going on with scenery? And you know. I got to say one quick word about Matthias and Aerosoft. Wow. I mean, Aerosoft's forums are the most friendly forums. And I know I said this last year, and I actually say this all the time. It's almost like a family there in the forums. I mean, you always have a few people that, you know, either for whatever reason, you know, kind of stir things up a little bit, and in a terrific way. That a lot of times they you know they calm down, and we're always happy to see that. But I just love going to the Aerosoft forums, and I know Nels is watching, and I will tell you that the flight sim or the flightsim.com forums are also tremendous. But
yeah, I also like them.
yeah, absolutely, no question about it. As a matter of fact, those are the two places that I go, and I visit all the boards. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to say I don't, you know, that I avoid going anywhere. I visit everywhere, but I have a real big home at Aerosoft and FlightSim.com as well, and it's due to this guy right here. I've gotten to know Matthias better and better over the last year, maybe a year and a half, and I can tell you this, and I can say the same thing of everybody on today's broadcast. But this man truly cares about our hobby and the future of our hobby, and I don't know anybody that outworks him where that's concerned. He cares. He cares about the people. He cares about giving people the right product for them, and you know, he reaches for the stars as well. So I mean, with the products that are under development. So I'm very pleased that Matthias to have him back here for a second year with us, and. I don't know, Matthias. I just wanted to thank you for all that you do for the flight sim community. You've been doing this a long time, haven't you?
Yes. As you can see by the color of my hair, I'm not the youngest here. So, I can match your 30 years in the hobby, and I've been professionally involved around 18 years now. So, yeah.
Full time, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you know, you
more than.
Yeah, more than. That's the right answer. You know. Okay, well, we have a couple of questions for you. Well, you know what? Before we get to the questions, let's take a look at some products and talk about the. Let's talk. What do you want to talk about first, the CRJ or the A330, Matthias?
The CRJ. It's closer to release, so I can tell more about that one.
Okay. And would you mind if I roll some video on this thing while you talk about it?
Shoot.
Okay, let's do that. Now, by the way, just before I start it, it's not going to take me more than 30 seconds because I know you got to go. But of all the times to have a complete system meltdown, the computer that I'm using for the stream here, and all the other things that are going on behind the scenes, just had a complete meltdown a little less than 48 hours ago. And if you see me squinting,
are you trying to blame it on the battle of the CRJ?
No, absolutely not. It was on the Windows 10 anniversary update, nailed me right between the eyes, and I worked very hard for that not to happen, and Microsoft got to me anyway. And that's why a few things haven't worked, exception of one mistake earlier where I forgot to turn the audio on again. But everything else, including our asking questions, that's really due to this meltdown that we had, and So the video that you're going to see is what I was able to recover. It's just bits and pieces. I lost a tremendous amount of data, and some of that is the CRJ video that we were going to show. So this isn't the best video, but let me tell you, I have the CRJ, and I tell you, I like it. I like it a lot. I'm fast becoming a convert. I love regional jets more than the long haul, and digital aviation and Aerosoft have. I mean, it's been a long time coming, hasn't it, Matthias? But I think you're going to put your best foot forward for sure.
Well, this is by far our most delayed project ever. So yeah, it's been a long time coming. But this was one of these projects that at a certain moment you've got to step back and look at it and see if you're still up to date. And we were not up to date, so we had to restart the project twice actually, and that that causes massive delays. But yeah, it is really late.
Do you have a well, I get the video up. Do you have a I know you get asked this all the time, and but do you have a rough idea when this aircraft might be ready for prime time?
Yeah, most certainly before the end of the year. We hope to get into the final round of beta testing in around 4 weeks' time, and it depends a bit on what happens then.
Wow.
It is looking good. It is basically all the rough stuff is done. We are closing down bugs. I'm looking at the bugs on screen, and we've got around 110 open, which sounds a lot, but for a project like this, it is nothing.
So 12. I mean, so I'm not sure. So before the end of the year, and with beta testing, I think you said in 3 to 4 weeks.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, that's.
And
I don't think you can ask more than that.
It depends on the feedback of the beta test, how long it will take then. I'm not going to rush this release now. It's so late, another couple of weeks don't really matter much.
No, I agree.
I believe Hans Hartmann does not agree to that, but okay, so be it.
Yep. Okay, I got that CRJ video up. I'm gonna put it here. Just see if we can't get the flight deck. Now I know a lot of you guys have seen this video, not this particular video because I shot it, but that you've seen the CRJ inside the flight deck, and I tell you, the flight deck is unique. I've never even been in a CRJ before, but I felt very comfortable. I mean, everything's where I kind of expected it to be. Some people I know, by looking in the forums, they had some concerns about how complex the FMS will be. Matthias, what do you say to that?
Basically, the CRJ is not a complex aircraft at all. You fly it surprisingly a lot manually. Keep in mind there's no auto throttle system, for example, which will take a lot of users by surprise, that you have to manually control a lot of the things. So you have to keep in mind it was designed, it was built in an era between the old steam gauge aircraft and the completely computerized Airbus 777. It has some elements of both in them, but
yeah.
It's what pilots tell me, it's an honest aircraft.
Yeah. Well,
it's I actually flew the beta of this a little while ago, and actually reminds me of a kind of jet-powered Q400, because it's made by Bombardier, who make the Q400, and it has a lot of the oddities of the Q400, like you have to arm the reversers, which is kind of weird. Like, imagine a 777 going, I must arm the reversers before we land. It's very Bombardier in the sense of there's a lot of peculiarities to flying it,
which is kind of neat.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I tell you, these aircraft, and I'm sure it's going to be the same with the CRJ. We're looking. I wish I could pause this, but unfortunately, with our setup, we can't. We're not. We're streaming it out at high definition, and if we pause it, we start creating lag. But I've been flying the Dash 8, the professional version, for just over, well, actually about 6.5 years now, and flying it weekly, 2, 3, 4, 5 times a week. And I never get bored going into that aircraft. Majestic has done an incredible job, boy, from stem to stern, top to bottom of that aircraft. But I think Ben's right. I think that the fact that Bombardier has their own way of building aircraft and aircraft systems, and for us flight sim guys who are used to flying Boeings or even the Airbuses, where we get up to cruise and watch a movie. But with the Bombardier aircraft, it's hands on, right? You got to work at this.
And if you disregard the Airbus, you will see that most of the aircraft projects that I've been involved with are kind of weird. The Twin Otter, which is a pretty weird aircraft with troubles there. The Catalina, the Bronco, these are all aircraft with a special character.
That's
it's
the
the
word. That's
Airbus
the right word.
that's the odd one out.
And the EFB that you guys put in here, I think, is really tremendous. I like the way that it interfaces with everything. You guys just upgraded the displays, didn't you?
Yes, yes. We looked at the release of Flight Sim Labs Airbus, and though I'm not very impressed by the modeling, the fact that the displays looked so sharp and so good, that made the whole cockpit look a lot better. So we decided that we had to do it. So I believe we doubled the resolution, and it looks much better now.
One of the things.
And it takes a little bit more memory, but you have to take that.
I tell you, my VAS in running this thing has been just not even close to being a problem. So one thing that those displays did, and I don't know why, but I didn't really anticipate this, but my eyes get after hours and hours on the computer, my eyes get a little tired, and with some of the displays in these aircraft that I look at, it's less crisp over time. And one thing I notice is that with the CRJ displays, they're so high definition that they remain very crisp and clear even when I was zoomed out. So
yeah.
So I don't know. I thought that was a really good move on your part. I really truly do. Okay, so that's the CRJ, and one of the things too, you're going to see it right here in the video that we're streaming, is take a look at the leading edge and the flaps when they both come down. I had no idea that both the flaps and the leading edge went down as far as they do. So we're just getting ready to watch that right now. That's amazing. I just had no idea they went down that far. I mean, I'm sure they do in real life. I just not a CRJ guy. I didn't know the aircraft very well, but
that's our touch. That's our Quebec touch of bizarreness.
Is that what it is? Yeah.
There's plenty of those in the Q400.
It's amazing. It really truly is. Okay, well, boss, what's going on with the A330?
Basically, it is we're in a pretty special time, because we just add another developer who I was talking to a long time. He's been added to the team to work on the flying parts of the thing. So I'm hoping to speed the development up, because it was going a little bit slow. We kept running into issue to issue, and we're not able to solve them. We were not able to close things very fast. And with this new guy, we now it's 6 people in total. So I believe it will go faster. And uh, all the plans that we had are working out. It is happening. The whole idea is still as it was 2 years ago. So I'm still happy.
Yeah, yeah.
It
Well,
just need to it needs to be done.
well, you're still on schedule. You're not behind schedule on the A330. You know, I mean, 2 years to develop an aircraft of that complexity. I think you're. I mean, you may be behind your personal schedule, but compared to other developers, I think you're doing a great job.
Yeah, but if you can put 6 people on an aircraft project, you have to expect some development done. At least keep in mind that a lot of the other teams are much smaller, and you
Yeah.
have to keep that in mind
Yes,
all
sir.
the time. With scenery development, it's exactly the same.
Yeah.
Um, although it is hard to work on the scenery with a couple of people, because you have to keep the same style and the same colors and the same feel. If you look at the Genoa scenery, for example, that has taken a bit longer, but that's basically because the teamwork on it is not large.
Right. Well, I tell you, you're
Uh,
right. And guys, Matthias just pointed out, and I don't know if you got the reference, but what we're looking at right now is the Genoa scenery that Aerosoft has in development, and should be coming out not too. I mean, I don't think it's
uh,
that long before we'll see it, is it?
no, the developers tell me that I can have the full files in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Then we have to do some tests. But no, it is the night stuff was the last that's needed to be done.
Yeah.
It is a very complex scenery. It's not only the airport, it's the harbor, it's the city. It's all very much linked together there. It is a complex mesh. Um, so it was one of these projects. I believe that developers afterwards said they rather would not have done.
Yeah, I believe it. I'm very familiar with Genoa, the airport, and all the approaches. And I was talking earlier about how I go out of my way to fly into to airports that have challenging approaches. I'm not saying dangerous
Yeah,
or
and
scary, but
Genoa
challenging.
has that.
Oh my goodness, several of them actually, and I just this is another great airport, and for a regional aircraft. It's got so many wonderful airports around there that you can fly to that are within range, and it's a winner. I've been flying into Genoa using a highly modified freeware scenery from FS 2004, which most people can't get to work in
I know it.
in
I know it. Yeah.
FSX. Yeah, ISD, and so I'm very familiar with high level scenery for this airport. I love this new scenery. I really love this scenery. I mean, it is great, and I'm very excited because I love flying into Genoa. And a matter of fact, a group that I used to be part of, we used to have group flights into Genoa just because of the challenging approaches. And I'm not saying they're all that really difficult, but they're challenging, and just like LaGuardia, they're amazingly scenic. I mean, the scenery, especially here, just forget about it. It's tremendous. So this is another winter scenery. I mean, it's been a great year for scenery, and
And anybody who can fly the CRJ on a circling approach
yeah,
and making it look reasonably good, that's a good pilot. That's a seriously good pilot.
you're absolutely right. Absolutely, yes, sir. One last question, my friend, and then I'm gonna I'll give the rest of the time is yours. If you can hang with us, we'd appreciate it. A330. I mean, it's no secret to you and probably the rest of the guys here that I've been pushing shared cockpit in the community and with developers for over 10 years now, and we are now seeing more and more shared cockpit aircraft come out, and I think Aerosoft is partially responsible for that with stepping up for shared cockpit with the A330, and we've more or less recently discovered some things to get that shared cockpit working really well. Just how to set your computer up, and now we've got something that the shared cockpit community has never had, and that's a long haul aircraft that's going to be shared cockpit capable. And I'm talking about the A330.
Yeah.
We that's amazing.
For an airliner, we really believe that shared cockpit is the only way to go, because it is just not realistic to have that seat next to you empty. In the CRJ, it will not be in the first release, but it is most definitely planned, because we honestly believe it is the only way to fly these aircraft in a realistic way.
Oh, absolutely.
Not only because it is fun, because it is much more fun to do it with two people than on your own, but also, yeah, sure, go.
No, please continue.
But also because the workload in these aircraft can be seriously hard.
Yes, sir.
And then it really helps to have somebody next to you who can do these kind of things. And we always included the semi-intelligent autopilot, the semi-intelligent second officer, and he will be in the A330 as well.
Oh.
But it pales in comparison to a real person who you can shout to if he does something wrong.
You know what? I don't use the automatic first officer. I mean, I have tested it back when I was working with Joshua, the original developer on the 320, but I don't use it. But I tell you, I was amazed at how well that works. And speaking with people that we do support for, quite a lot of people were very impressed that Aerosoft not only put that in there, but it works so well. Because it became a learning tool for them to help them learn the aircraft.
Yeah, absolutely.
Whose idea was that? To put that in there?
Oh, that's pretty funny actually. It was not in our first Airbus, but then two Germans made it as a freeware tool.
Oh.
And we started to talk to them, and then we simply bought it, the rights from them, and they developed it for the A320 and the A318. But it was really started as a hobby project.
Wow.
That's and that is one of the reasons why we kept the whole structure of the Airbus open. In the original Airbus, a lot of it done in XML. In the current release, still a lot of it is in XML code, so people can read it to understand what's going on. In the A330, a lot less, because it's too complex to debug XML. But it still will be very, very open. You will still be able to add stuff.
That's fantastic. That is fantastic. I was a Boeing guy at heart, and in some ways I still am. But Aerosoft gave me my Airbus experience, and because what attracted me was the shared cockpit, because something I know that you've talked about before, and you didn't say it, so I'll throw it out there, but I know that you talk a lot about this, Matthias, is the fact that with these complex aircraft, one of the benefits of shared cockpit is it allows somebody who is interested in flying these kind of aircraft to get in to jump in the flight deck with somebody who does have that experience. It's an incredible teaching tool. And it compresses it compresses that learning curve so incredibly. I know that I often take up a guy that is not even basically familiar with the aircraft, and we take him up on VATSIM, and he gets a twofer. He gets to experience VATSIM, and it's not like they have to worry about that they can't operate the aircraft yet, because they're going up with a guy, whoever he may be, that is used to operating the aircraft in single cockpit. So anyway, it's a great learning tool. It exposes them to flying on VATSIM or IVAO or any of the other servers that are out there. and gets him, toward the higher end of our hobby. So I know that a lot of VAs are now picking this up as a training tool as well. British
they are.
Virtual, yeah, British Virtual is, I think, probably the biggest one doing it right now. Anyway, I'm a shared cockpit guy, and OVPA, by the way, Online Virtual Pilot Association, is a shared cockpit organization. I think, well, anyway, I love it. I've got about 7,000 or 8,000 hours in shared cockpit time.
Jesus.
Yeah. Well, half of that came as beta testing, or more than half beta testing the Dash 8 Q400 Pro for 6.5 years. So you amassed a lot. But the other aircraft was the Mad Dog, the Leonardo Mad Dog, and then I think about 900 hours now in the Aerosoft Airbus A330. So and
Impressive.
say again? Yeah. Well, a lot of it was work. I just thank you very much for leading the charge, so to speak.
And thanks for having me here. It's fun.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Okay, guys, we have got to take a 4-minute intermission. We have to do that, and our developers have been sitting here for quite a long time, and I know they're need to get up and stretch their legs. So we're going to come back. We're going to wrap up with talking with, and let me tell you, we saved the best for every part of the show because it's all fantastic stuff. But we've got something coming up that you are going to really love, and so stick with us, okay? We're going to take an intermission for 4 minutes, and we shall return. back with 3 more questions for Matthias Koch of Aerosoft. And the first one is from our friend Lars Nilsson again. And if you're, see, his product is about the A318, A318 through A321 series. Is there any indications that after the Airbus A330 series is released, that the Airbus 318 through 321 would be updated, or would you redo the or do another version? Let's see. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes. No, the first thing we will do is we will move all the systems that are the same in all aircraft that are redone. They will be moved to the A320. That includes the fly-by-wire, MCDU, navigation display, and some other stuff,
Sure.
which is seriously updated.
Sure. I mean, the A cars as well, and
yeah, as well.
And
after that, we would like to do another Airbus. We're not sure what to do, but that's long in the future because the A330 will run the whole of next year with new engine types and all that stuff.
Sure.
But I would like to personally do an A320 Neo version.
Absolutely.
But Airbus will have something to say about that.
You guys work very closely with Airbus, don't you?
Easiest company to deal with.
Okay. Yeah. Matthias, you guys, Aerosoft works very closely with Airbus, don't you?
I would not say very closely, but yes, is contact.
Yeah. Okay. All right. And okay, let's see. Our next question is from Luca Leader, and his question is, "How did you get into?" Oh, okay. How did you get into flight simulation? I think it's from a fellow German. Yeah.
I had a Tandy color computer, the Coco for people who were old enough, and there was a P-51 flight simulator game there. That was the very first flight simulator I flew.
Is that called P-38 Mustang, I think, or P-52? I can't remember what it was called, but
yeah,
I had that. That was a great little sim.
It was a very good sim, a really good sim. And after that, I simply never actually stopped. So it was. I used to fly as well. I don't do it anymore, but for me, flying a simulator is in many ways more fun than flying a real aircraft. Because chances of me learning to fly an Airbus at my age with these eyes are 0.
Yeah, that's right. Let's see. Tom Campbell has a question about Aerosoft scenery. He says, will Aerosoft update some of the older but favored packages, such as Gibraltar X, for P3D?
Good question. A painful question.
Yes, it
is. It is difficult, not in a technical way, but in a commercial way, because basically you are spending quite a lot of time making the installers, testing them, redoing the product pages, getting all the other shops updated as well, for very few additional sales. So I had a discussion about that last week, and we used to do 2 updates a week. We will restart that soon. I think within the next 2-3 weeks we will have some other updates compatible.
Matthias, I would happily pay for an update of Gibraltar for, say, P3D V3. You know, I would happily pay $5-10. Do you not think that the market would stand that?
I really have an issue with people having to pay twice for the same code. You would pay the money for an additional installer, and it doesn't feel right. It's not the way that we like to do business.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Our
that's understandable.
our aircraft are always for FSX, SP2, Steam, P3D, one price, one buy. Um,
That's
really,
great.
it does not feel right. And to be honest, that of that $5 that you would pay, a lot of that goes to the credit card company and stuff.
Yeah.
No, no, we would not do that. No.
Okay.
That's a tremendous thing about Aerosoft, and I'm actually glad this came up because Aerosoft and Matthias personally has that. What I've heard him say it a million times. He won't charge somebody a second time for the same files. And if you notice that the A320 and I'm sure the A330 and the CRJ and the other Aerosoft products that if they work in FSX and they just need a slight modification to work in P3D, Aerosoft doesn't charge you again for that, and it's a reasonable price for an excellent detailed and immersive aircraft on top of all of that. It's affordable for everybody, and I tell you, that is commitment to the community. It really truly is.
But do you not think though that it's not reasonable to buy a scenery maybe 5 years ago, and since then there've been maybe 3 or 4 or 5 updates to a program like P3D. So P3D version 3.4 is effectively a brand new sim. It's a brand new version of P3D, let alone a different version to FSX. So if you've got a user who's trying to use that in P3D and they can't, I don't know. I genuinely feel there would be people who would be happy to pay a very small fee just to have that working in their latest sim. But hey, that's just my opinion.
At the same time, there would be a lot of people on the forum who would not be happy, who would shout quite loudly as people on forums do.
Oh yeah.
It is not worthwhile. We rather do a complete an intermediate update to make it compatible to a new sim, and then work on a new version a year later. You will notice that all the big airports that we do, we tend to update them every 24 to 32 months on average. The airports change, the platforms change. And when all the files are new, it's a full price. If there's part use from the old product, it's an update price. Simple.
I think Ben, and I agree with Matt, but Ben, I think you actually have an excellent point, and it's something worthy of discussion. But I tell you what, I've got some questions, and I want to talk about it. I do. It's great. I think that's on a lot of people's minds, both sides of the fence. So, but if we can get to these questions, and then I want to get to REX and to airline to sim, and then we'll go to that round table. We can hammer that kind of stuff right out. So here we go with let's see, it was Bob, I think. Okay, so and this is regards to the A330. What was the reason behind picking the A333 over the A332? And was it the fact that the reference aircraft was a 333?
Yes. It's also, as far as we know, the most used model. So it makes it logical to pick that one. And we had the most information about that one. Do not underestimate the effect that another engine has. It is really a lot of other additional work. You easily talk about 3 to 4 months additional work to add another engine. So we had to start with the one, and this was the one that we had access to. The pilots that help us also fly that one most.
Excellent answer. Okay, well, Matthias, that wraps up the questions for that we
Yeah,
have
and
for Aerosoft.
it also wraps up me because I have to
Yeah.
do something else.
Yes,
Even
sir.
this time at night, still something I have to do.
Well, thank you,
Yeah,
thank you so very much. We're going to miss you during the
and
roundtable,
thank
but
you.
thank you. I
And
mean, I
hi
can't.
to all the other people. See you soon. Bye
Okay.
bye.
All right, Matthias.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye, Matthias. We'll send
Bye-bye.
you questions via email.
Okie
Yeah.
doke.
Okay,
bye-bye.
so let's see. We kind of grazed right over airline to sim earlier, and because we were really getting involved, but Ben Weston did something for the flight sim community that isn't talked about a lot, but it had a big impact. It had a huge impact. Majestic Software came out with one, in my mind, one of the top two flight sim aircraft that's ever been produced for at least desktop flight simulation. One's the Leonardo MD-80 Mad Dog. And if you haven't flown that thing, and if you haven't gotten to know the MD-80, especially such an incredibly detailed model as Leonardo did, it's worth it. I mean, it's.
I have an anecdote on this aircraft, actually.
Do you?
Because it
Yeah.
has shared cockpit, right?
Yes, you bet
Yeah.
it does. Absolutely.
A few years ago, we actually tried it, one and my friend. We spent like 2 hours at the gate just starting the engines. And once we are in the runway putting full throttle on it, everything blew up. Right
Oh
away.
yeah, and that's a common, and you know why that is, right?
I've never found out.
Yeah, because if you do that in a real MD-80, you firewall the throttles like a lot of us are used to doing. You just dump so much gas in there too quickly, and the engines either catch fire or blow up.
Exactly.
That's for real. And well, at any rate, so Majestic Software. And if you haven't flown the Leonardo Mad Dog, give it a try, man. It's one of the two top I promise you, two most immersive aircraft, detailed aircraft. I mean, everything works in it.
But that's number two because we don't have a training product for that, right? So
Well, hold
go
on.
to the Q400, then the
So then
the MD-80.
so then Majestic just raised that bar, and it's an aircraft that you'll never get tired of flying, and you'll love every minute in it. If you don't know, if you're a little intimidated, you can fly share cockpit with somebody and learn the system faster than you can do reading a book. And that's where Airline to Sim comes in. Airline to Sim essentially took shared cockpit and made it available to you 24 hours a day. And they did one thing better. They put the guy flying with you is a real Q400 pilot. So that's what's your Ben? Your motto is what?
The model was the fact that the Q400 was a really difficult aeroplane to fly. So, I mean, just to give you, because I think we're a fairly small fish, I think, with some of the big names that we've got on the stream today. The genesis, if you like, of Airline to Sim. My background is radio, and I've been on the radio for about 20 years. In fact, can I share some screenshots with you now, Dave?
Please
Is that
do.
cool?
Yeah,
All
absolutely.
right, cool. So let me. Can you?
Be disappointed if you didn't.
All right. Can you guys see my desktop now? Is that
Sure.
is that working? All right. So here's a very young Ben. This is my first ever radio show with the big hair. 1993. And then I worked in radio for about 20 years. So this is me earlier this year at the radio station I'm with now. And the radio station I was working with went through a bit of a restructure, and the emails came around saying they were streamlining, and for that read, hey, some of you are going to be fired. And me and a few other guys found ourselves being fired effectively. So I was sitting around at home in my pants eating pizza, feeling sorry for myself. wondering really what I was going to do, and wondering where the next kind of broadcasting job would come from. And I was spending quite a bit of time on the flight simulator. And around this time, the Majestic Q400 came along, and it was a really, really difficult aeroplane to fly. Whereas a lot of the more advanced airplanes, the Airbuses and the Boeings, they have auto throttle, and they have protections, and they pull the flaps up if you go too fast and overspeed them. The Q400 doesn't have any of that. It's an airplane that will happily kill you if you happily, with a smile on its face.
Yeah.
So I remember flying this thing and just getting it all wrong, and just being really frustrated, because I knew that this clearly, this aeroplane was, very clearly a really, really great model, and it was incredibly well modeled. But I just couldn't get to grips with it, and it was quite frustrating, because I thought I was a fairly experienced simmer, and I had a private pilot's license. So a friend of mine, who by this time was flying big jets, I knew that he'd flown the Dash 8 a few years previously for an airline here in the UK. So I pinged him an email and said, look, I'm here on the sim. Is there any chance I can get you up on Skype and get a bit of training from you on how to fly this aeroplane? And he was actually on a layover at the time in Cancun. And he said, look, I can, I'll take a bit of time out of lying around the pool with some, swimsuited flight attendants, and I'll go back to my room and jump on the Wi-Fi, and I'll give you a hand. I can give you, half an hour. So he did, and he went back to his room, and over kind of the slightly patchy kind of hotel Wi-Fi, he gave me some guidance on how to fly the Q400. And the thing that I took away from that is that in about 45 minutes of working with him on Skype, on not even a very good Skype call, I actually learned more in 45 minutes of someone who really knew the airplane, explaining in a very simple fashion how the airplane operated. I learned more in 45 minutes of that than I had done in probably a month of just wading through tons of material that was written about it, or some not very good YouTube videos, or just trying to figure it out myself. And I had a bit of a eureka moment, and I thought, okay, I can't be the only person that's in this position. And I thought, well, if I can actually find a guy who flies this airplane now, and I can get him to come along and sit in the room next to me, and somehow we can record that, we can record the gameplay, and we can record the two of us speaking, maybe we can kind of edit that together into some kind of program. And that's what we did. And it took a long time to put it together. We found a Q400 pilot, a guy called Josh, who flew for Flybe, which is, I think, one of the world's biggest operators of the Q400. And he came along and sat with me in a room for probably the best part of a week. And it took us a long time to put this together. It took, probably a year from the idea to actually having something that went out on sale. And that was the Q400 Cadet Training Program, which is this one here. And essentially what it does is over 10 flights, we take you from not knowing anything about the airplane all the way through to being able to fly it very, very competently indeed. So I'm just going to roll. I can't play you video because unfortunately Skype doesn't allow us to kind of share audio, but just to give you a little example of the video. So this is like the beginning of video number 1. So we're standing outside this airplane. We've never laid hands on this airplane in our lives before. We've never touched it. We don't know anything about it. So what we do is that we sit inside and we talk a little bit about how you turn the batteries on and the APU, and you learn lots of stuff about how to sit down. So for example, here we are kind of getting the viewpoint right. So you'll see that there's these two little balls just in front of that eastern plane that's in the background. There's a white ball and a black ball. Now, to kind of sit down properly in the Q400, what you need to do is kind of align the two balls together. And I never knew this. Like, I mean, this isn't in a manual. This isn't written down anywhere. So we talk about some of the optional extras. So, airplanes are a bit like cars. They are spec'd from the factory, and some of them are really well equipped, and some of them are terribly equipped. So the Flybe Q400s are really poverty spec. They are really kind of like the guy from Flybe went to the Bombardier factory and was like, okay, just give me an airplane with 2 wings and 2 engines and nothing else. But some of the other airplanes, they have, sheepskin heated seats. and all kinds of nice, little toys. So we talk a little bit about that, and then we actually get into the kind of meat of actually kind of turning the airplane on and how you start the battery up and what you're looking for and stuff like.
I've seen you turn these aircraft on. It's somewhat intimidating, and the other hand, it's kind of disgusting.
Yeah, I know it is. I mean, again, we have this little graphic that's shows you how the airplane should be set up on the ground. So the part brake and the gust lock, and there's all these little animations that run through it all, and everything that you need to see is kind of animated. This is going to look a little bit kind of jerky probably on the stream, but
looks great. Looks great.
It's nice and smooth when we actually do it in the video. And other things as well, like outsell, which is like the big Q400 thing. Unlike a Boeing or an Airbus, the Q400 will not stop at an altitude. You've got to press this button called outsell, and if you don't press it, then kind of bad things happen. So we talk a little bit about that, and then the next thing is that we actually get out to go fly a flight. So this is the final flight, one of 3, which is from Guernsey in the Channel Islands to London Gatwick, and we show you how a flight plan works, and we show you how to type all this into the FMS, and then we show you kind of what this looks like in terms of the chart. So this is the departure chart to get you out of Guernsey. And to a lot of people, this stuff is a real mystery. What's a SID? SID's a person, right? Well, no, a SID is a standard instrument departure. So we show you what the SID is, how to choose the SID, how to type that into the airplane, how to plug it in, what it all works, and then then we actually go and fly it. And then by the end of this particular video, which kind of goes all the way to Gatwick, we do a go around. I think there's a faulty door indication that we fire off, and then we kind of do a kind of priority return. So it's all pretty cool stuff. And then at the end, we have a kind of debrief where we talk about the mission and we talk about what we've done and the things that we've taken away from that. So this is the kind of final video after kind of 8 or 9 hours. And by this time, you can fly the airplane very competently. You can start the engines, you can taxi it, you can really get everything looking really nice. So that was the cadet training. We put this out.
And you're not kidding, by the way. I mean, you were kind enough to share the cadet training course with me, and I went through it. And I tell you, there was stuff in there. That I didn't know, and gosh, you learn it so much faster too. When you can back up, you rewind. If you didn't catch something or you want to see it, get another look at it. I'm going to tell you, it's a fantastic tool. I mean, it really truly is. Anybody who wants to learn a dash, you got to have this thing. You got to have it.
I've got to agree with you guys as well on that. Before I came across this, I had the Dash 8, and I guy in the office who flies the big airline and stuff all the time. He and I probably sat there for an hour and a half trying to think about what are we missing trying to start the aircraft. How do you start this thing up and fly it properly? Had no idea. But that was part of the challenge as well. But these things actually just get you into the cockpit and teach you what you need to know to get the most from it. I love it.
Yeah, it is. It truly is. It was. Well, you're absolutely right. It was a brilliant idea, and it came along at exactly the right time. And I for one, Ben, hope you do a lot more of these with a lot more aircraft, because I mean, you're almost single-handedly introducing just loads of people into this level of flying. And I just want to say again, the fact that you can just rewind it just a little bit and go over what you just it's just perfect. It really truly is. You've done so. I know it's a commercial product, but you know what? You've done so much for the community with this product, and so do more, please.
Well, we are. We're going to do more. I mean, we put it on sale, and it was a pretty big hit. It was #1 on the sim market sales for a good few weeks, and we put it on sale with Just Fly, and it was quite a big hit for them. And it still continues to sell, to this day. And we realized pretty quickly that we needed to follow up this with another product for the Q400, because even though we'd done kind of 7 or 8 hours of kind of video product for the Dash, we realized that there was actually a load more stuff that we hadn't even touched on. So we came up with the idea for the first officer course. So the idea is that you were a cadet, and you've learned all that, and now you want to take your knowledge further, and now you're a first officer. So we're going to show you first officer stuff. So we do stuff like rejected takeoff, engine fail at V1, which is obviously where the engine you lose an engine at a fairly critical point in the takeoff. VOR approach, NDB approaches. These are all things that are done every day in the real Q400s around the world. Very hard to do in the sim. I'm not going to lie. You know, this is stuff that's it's difficult in the real aeroplane, and it's difficult in the sim. But we're showing you how to do this stuff. You know, if you like, kind of moment by moment. We're really kind of holding your hand through these things. So this is just a little bit. I'm just gonna, again, you can't hear it, so I'm just going to talk you through it. But what we're actually doing here, this is the circle to land approach. So in the first officer training, one of the videos is in Chambray in the Alps. We're actually showing you how to do the circle to land approach, which is where you come down a very steep ILS down to the runway, but the wind is favoring us landing. If you can see there, the wind is actually coming from behind us, so we can't land in this direction. So you kind of shoot the ILS, and then at about 2,000 feet, you actually then turn left, and you essentially just fly around this valley. And it's incredibly difficult. It's difficult in the real aeroplane, but because Josh has flown this in the real aeroplane, because he's trained in the real simulator to do this and then flown it in the real aeroplane, he knows how to do it. You know, he said, right, you know, we've got to fly in this heading for 1 minute, and then we've got to turn right, and then we're going to fly for another minute, then we're going to descend down to 1,000 feet, then we're going to press the timer again, then we're going to turn, and when we roll out, the runway will be in front of us. And you wouldn't be able to do this if you didn't have someone who did it in the real world to show you how to do it. It would just be impossible. You would fly down, and you would look at the runway, and you'd kind of fly around a little bit and hope that the runway was there when you roll out. And obviously that's never how you're going to fly a real Q400. So, you know, we were pretty proud of this, and I think it's testament to the Majestic guys that they have made an aeroplane that is so detailed that we've been able to do now 18 or 19 hours of incredibly detailed training, almost to the same level as is done in the real airplane, and we've been able to do that on a desktop PC. Now, I mean, that's pretty cool, right?
Yeah, it is. And I don't want to. And you know, I've been through the course, so I don't want to give anybody the wrong impression. You know, Ben's saying 17 or 18, 19 hours, but it's not daunting. It's enjoyable.
Yeah, well, we try and make it enjoyable. I mean, there are already training products. There have already been training products in the space, if you like. Angle of Attack famously did some really good training programs in the past for stuff like the level D767 and the 737 NGX. We take a slightly different approach to it. We don't concentrate so much on the systems. We had a big, long conversation about this, and we decided that looking at diagrams of the fuel system and where the fuel pump is and this pump and that pump and this widget and that widget, you know, none of this is particularly interesting. And it's also stuff that you can find online. If you want to go and look at a flow diagram of the fuel chart of the fuel tank on a Q400, you can find that on the internet.
Yeah.
What you can't find on the internet is how to fly a circle to land approach in the Q400 at Chambray.
Yeah.
And that's what we do. That's what we concentrate on, because we got to concentrate on the stuff that you can't find unless you've got someone who does it to show you.
I think that's great. I really do. And you know, it's not like your courses are like some other courses are, where it's just information after information after. I mean, you lighten things up. You talk about different things that are relevant, right, to the learning experience.
Yeah.
But you just not like you're hammering this into people. It's a very not slow, but a very relaxed atmosphere. Well, anyway, I love the way you did the course. I really do.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So we then decided that we would probably go off and we'd do this for some other airplanes. And the first airplane,
no, not again.
Yeah, absolutely. The first airplane that kind of jumped out at us was the 777, because it's a big hit. A lot of people fly the 777, and there wasn't a training product on the market that had been trained by a real 777 pilot. And we ran into a few challenges there. The 777 is a very senior aeroplane. If you're flying the 777, You're almost certainly fairly senior. You're working for a fairly big airline. And, is there a huge incentive to come along and sit in a room with a flight simmer for a week? Probably not. But we were really fortunate in that we found a guy who had very recently retired from airline flying and was a flight instructor himself, and he was really interested in coming and doing the 777 training program. And his name is Myron. So let me find you the pictures. So this is a little bit of the marketing material that we did for the 777, and there you can see Myron as a very young guy flying the Super Sabre in the Air Force. And then there he is on the right, probably maybe a year before retirement, a couple of years ago, flying over the North Atlantic in the 777. So, that underscores what we're trying to do here. This is not me sitting in a room just having read some books saying, hey, I'm going to show you how to fly the 777. I don't know how to fly a 777, but we've got a guy who does, and that's the whole thing. So I was hoping to have a bit of stuff from the 777 to show you, but it's very much not finished yet, so there's not really a lot to show. But we do some pretty.
It's going to be great.
We do some pretty funky things. I mean, Myron, when he showed up, this is what he brought with him. So this was my kitchen table when he arrived, and we got to work pretty quick. He brought a ton of stuff with him, so we had to kind of work through all this and kind of distill it all down. And we did some really good stuff. We created our own little virtual airline, if you like.
Air America.
Yeah, America. We created our own little fictional airline to go off and do the flights, and we go all around. Yeah, we go. Well, it wasn't fictional. The CIA, of course.
That's right.
That's Air America.
Yeah, and I'm sure that's where he got that from, because he was around for that. So yeah,
he was around at the time, and we go all over the world. The great thing about the 777, I guess, as opposed to the Q400, is that you can't go very far in a Q400. It's a small aeroplane; it doesn't go very far. But the 777 goes a long way, and the scope, rather than just being kind of the British Isles in the Q400 training and a bit of Europe. When we went to France, now became the whole world. So we went we went around Hawaii. We went to San Francisco for the quiet bridge visual that the 777 crew messed up, the Asiana crew. So we actually do that. We actually do that flight. That's one of the flights that we do. How to fly the quiet bridge visual. It's quite difficult into San Francisco. We fly to Hong Kong. We fly to Dubai. We fly to Doha. We fly to Washington. And this was one of the last flights that we did, and it was really cool. It's quite unusual, this one. There is let me find the thing. Okay, here we go. So this is Washington Dulles Airport. Now I don't know how well you can see this, but there's 3 ILS runways at Washington, and if the wind is blowing in the wrong direction, very rarely, only happens maybe once or twice a year, the aeroplanes have to do a circling approach, and doing a circling approach in a Q400 is no big deal. Doing a circling approach in a 777, that's a big deal, and it's pretty hard to do. I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty hard to do because the runway that you're landing on, there's no nav aids, there's nothing. It's a completely visual maneuver. Very unusual to do that in a 777. Very few people have done it, but our guy had done it about 20 times. Wow. So here we go. This is a little screenshot from that video, and you can see what we've done here is we've set up some fixes on the FMS, and you actually use that, and there's some little altitude steps and stuff. So we show you a few little cheats how you actually go about doing this particular flight in the airplane, and we do it. So by the end of the 777 training course, you'll be one of the few people on the planet to know how to do a circle to land approach in a 777. So that's it. It's going to be out a little bit later on. First thing I've learned, one thing I have learned about flight simulator products is never give release dates. So as you can see, this was the original artwork, which said coming in May, because we recorded it in, I think, February, March time. And hey, here we are in September, and it's still not finished. So never give dates. That's something I learned from PMDG, and I keep making that mistake. But it will be out before the end of the year, and it's going to be good. It will be the kind of go-to resource, really.
Sure. I have no doubt whatsoever. Hey, you got time for a question?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, we have a question.
I'm going to just dump the shed. Thingy.
Oh, sure. Thank you. So Anthony Richardson, he has a great question here. He says he loves the Q400 training. Absolutely, you're on, man. That's it. It's helped him immensely. When is the 737 program coming out?
Well, we
Not looking for a release date, just a rough idea.
No. We I always knew that PMDG were going to refresh the 737 at some point. And for those people that were watching the Flight Angels stream last weekend that I was involved with, Robert Randazzo from PMDG was on that. And as I suspected, he talked about the 737 line and said that that airplane is now kind of 5 years old. So at the back of my mind, I always knew a refresh was probably coming down the tracks. So when they refresh it, which will probably be next year, I don't know. I'm not a party to the dates. I don't even think PMDG know that yet. We've got a guy. We've got a guy in the team who actually flies the 737 NG, which is obviously the new one, and he also flies a 737 Classic. Now, if you're a big fan of X-Plane, you'll know that the IXEG did a fantastic 737 Classic fairly recently. So what I'm actually hoping to do is a course that includes both of them. So it will be, we'll call it the 737 Master course, and a little bit of it will be filmed in X-Plane with the Classic, and a little bit of it will be filmed in P3D or FSX, or maybe Stephen's fantastic new simulator if we've got it all by then. And that will show you how to fly the NG and the differences between flying them both. Some people fly both aeroplanes in different fleets. And you've got to remember, sometimes you forget which airplane you're in because they're quite similar inside, and there are some quite big differences as to how you operate them. So we're hoping to do a kind of 737 master course, but don't expect that for maybe a year or so.
Well, I'm certainly look forward to that. I'm just one of those guys that likes to get I'm very detail oriented with the aircraft. So I mean,
yeah,
I'm that guy that does spend all that time online reading about this and reading about that, but so. Well, anyway, that's I hope that answered. I hope that answered.
Well, I mean,
I think it did.
very briefly expand on that. I know we're running well over, so I'll wrap it up now. But we're also working on a kind of light product line as well. We can only really do this with aeroplanes that are what we would call study level.
Yeah.
The Q400 is one, the 777 is another, the NGX is another, the Flight Sim Labs A320 is another, the PMDG 747 undoubtedly will be another. We'll run out of airplanes at some point. So what I'm also looking at is perhaps a kind of secondary product line, which is maybe a light product line, if you like, which is not something that we're going to spend 10 hours of video and it's going to take us 6 months to a year to make. It might be something like, let's take an example. So Just Flight are making with some guys called Airplane Heaven a BAC 111, which is the you'll know this one, Dave. It's probably an airplane from when you were a boy. Twin jet T-tail airplane. It was flown by BA and Dan Air when I was a kid, and it looks really good. The previews look amazing. So wouldn't it be nice if we can find a retired guy who flew the 111 maybe for BA back in the day, and he can come and maybe just spend a day with us, and we can just record a couple of hours with him, maybe just some stuff about the airplane, just how you get it started, how you get it in the air, and how you get it on the ground. And then we can kind of edit that down into maybe a couple of hours, and that goes out for $5 or something. So that's something that we're kind of looking at as well, alongside the really big detailed products as well.
Anything, I think you heard me say it before. I love anything. And you didn't say it, but it almost sounds for that aircraft, not our community, but introductory. And I love that kind of stuff. Anything to get people advancing in our hobby. I just think that's so important, and we're very lucky that you decided to jump in with both feet, Ben.
Yeah,
we really are. Yeah. We really are. You done
we'll continue
excellent
to
work.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yes, sir. No, really, sincerely, thank you. I love this stuff. Anything to teach guys, this thing is so important. Okay, listen, I need to Reed. Our friend Reed has got the flu, and he has been so patient and just probably hanging in there for by a thread all this time.
I'm worried. He hasn't moved. He hasn't moved in 2.5 hours.
I know.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I'm pretty good at standing still there for a while.
That's right. Oh my goodness.
Actually, I look a little asleep there on that picture.
but we're going to get to Reed, I promise you, in just 1 second. But there is something I need to say because I didn't get out earlier. Dovetail Games has been very kind enough to give you 20 copies of FSX Steam, and that's an incredible and a very important gift, and I'm going to tell you why. I've got 2 different versions of the FSS disc. I've got FSX Steam, and of course P3D. FSX Steam does run, I think, far better and is more stable than the disk version of FSX. Certainly, there are a few products out there that are not compatible with Steam. And I'm surprised we didn't get a question: is there going to be any more compatibility fixes, coming down the road? If you have the disk version of FSX, unless there's a product that you are using that is not compatible with Steam, and I think there's just a handful left. Stephen, are you aware of how many there are left now? I mean, I know that some of the A2A aircraft are not compatible, but none of the big aircraft, right? All the big aircraft are compatible.
It's very, very few things now.
Absolutely. So, I tell you what. If you have, and if you don't, if you already have Steam, then please kind of bow out gracefully. But if you have the disk version of FSX, or if you're not into flight simulation yet and you want to be, send us an email. The first 20 people, we will give you guys a copy of, on behalf of Dovetail Games, and we thank them very much for the donation. We're going to give you guys a copy of FSX Steam. I have P3D. I still fly FSX Steam because some of the aircraft I have are not compatible with P3D, and so I fly FSX Steam all the time. I don't suffer from out of memory errors. I don't suffer from really any problems at all. It's stable as can be. It's important to tune your sim up a little bit so that happens, as with P3D as well. So if you'd like it, on behalf of Dovetail Games and their gracious donation, then we'd like to give that out to you. So just send us an email, and the first 20 people we'll be happy to do that for you. All right. So and Stephen, I'm sorry I didn't get that out earlier, my friend. So it's a very very gracious gift. Steve's going 20. Are you kidding me?
20. Thought we agreed 2. You guys are crazy.
Okay.
Someone at Dovetail Accounts has just gone, no.
Yeah, that's right. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. I'm not going to get paid at the end of the month, I'm sure.
No. So, and something else real quick is that the CRJ, I forgot to mention, one of the best parts about that aircraft are the documentation. I kid you not, the documentation is very quick, to the point, and they even have an excellent one-page description for Boeing or Airbus guys to get instantly familiar with the CRJ. So I thought that needed to be said, and just some notes stuff I forgot to do. Okay, so without further ado, I'd like to introduce Reed from REX, and yeah, Reed, what's going on, brother?
Oh, not much. Just fighting the flu right now. Unfortunately, it hit me last night, and so I'm a little under the weather right now.
Yeah, and hey, by the way, we did ask Reed if he wanted to go first, so we didn't hold him this long and make him suffer. But okay, Reed, I'm going to queue up a video here. It's the Skyforce video, and
excellent.
Yep, and everybody will see that, of course. And so that's running now. Tell us about this outstanding, incredible, really, product, Skyforce.
Well, Skyforce is something that's been in development for quite a while. It's been in development for about 2 years. What we've done, we've been involved with textures for a long time, environmental textures, both with ground and sky, and specifically clouds and everything. And we just felt like, what's the next level to go to? And for the last 2 years, we've been looking at the structure of the platform as a whole, and felt that the next thing to look at was the actual models themselves, the cloud models themselves, that put the cloud textures onto the models to make them look more realistic and more volumetric, so to speak, and also to be able to give more back to the sim itself, so that it's not you know, struggling, so to speak. The biggest problem it's always been is the more cloud layers, the more full the sky of clouds, the the struggle the sim seems to have. You get more, frame rate hits and so forth. So what we've done is we've totally revamped that whole process and have added more back to the sim by and being more realistic with the clouds themselves. So it's basically what we've done is we've the sim itself was kind of limited on the types of clouds that it was representing. We basically went through a cloud chart and built cloud models based upon that cloud chart. So now that you're flying through the air, you've got more realistic clouds. You've got clouds that actually pattern around the real world scenarios that are out there.
Wow.
And we've got about 3,000 different cloud models out there, variations.
Wow.
So
Wow.
the repetition of clouds, that was one of the biggest things in the past too, is the repetition of clouds that were viewable on the scene. You'd say, well, I just saw that cloud 10 minutes, 5 seconds ago. We've reduced that tremendously. Obviously, we have not eliminated that because it would be very difficult to do, but we've reduced that enormously, if that is such a word, sorry, enormously.
You talk like I do.
Yeah, I'm glad I'm not on medicine right now. I'd be slurring my words right now. But yeah, we've reduced the amount of repetition in the clouds too, so that brings back the feel of realism that needs to be there. So as you can see by the video, there's we've got a variation of different types of thunderstorm clouds and billowing clouds and supercells that we've talked about. We've worked on. We built high precipitation supercell clouds and low precipitation clouds, and we got thunderstorms that reach from 30 to 40,000 feet, and some that reach all the way up to 70,000 feet now. So
I don't think that's ever been seen in flight sim before, has it?
no, but it will.
There it is.
Yep,
Wow.
you'll see it, and you'll be amazed. The team that's been working on that, it's I've been able to play around with it probably for the last month and a half, just myself playing around with it, and just been blown away by just the clouds themselves. I'm going, wow. I've
Wow.
not seen a storm cloud like this in ages.
Yep,
So
absolutely.
and not just that, we've enhanced the sky textures, as well as also we have a new V-Sync type lighting system that we've included in with that. So it's working all together, looks really, really nice.
Well, every time you guys, you just keep setting that bar higher and higher, and every time I'm amazed. Um, we're going to get now. Reed's got a product we're going to talk about here, and I think very few people even know that this thing is in development. And I can promise you this much: this is 100% a game changer for flight simulation. 100% going to change everybody that's involved with in our hobby. Every single person, this is going to touch them. I can guarantee it. But there's a couple other things about REX that I want to touch on. First of all, you guys announced a new pricing structure, didn't you?
Yeah, what we decided to do is we've been kind of watching the market out there. We watch how the foreign markets compare to the United States markets do, and so forth, and just the general economy out there. We felt that you know prices are pretty high, and we felt like it was best that we cut our prices by about 30%, and so we decided to do that. Um, Generally because one of the reasons, we just feel that if you buy from one store and you go to our store, it's just not an even kill. So that's one of the reasons why we decided to drop our pricing structure down. So
Wow.
basically, you get about 30% off like you would maybe on a sale regularly. So just recently we ran a 30% sale. So you almost got the prices at 60% off,
Wow.
so to speak. So, but yeah, I mean, we just felt like we needed to do that. We've not ever done that before, but we felt like it was time to do that, and felt the reason for that was legitimate in the sense that there's just such a wide variety of prices out there, and we felt we wanted to be more in line with what the what the what needed to be out there. So
Wow, you guys really do pay attention to the community, don't you?
yeah, our goal is not to, I think Mateus brought it up the other day with Aerosoft, or just a few minutes ago. Our goal is not to soak the customer or their hard-earned money. I mean, this is a hobby, and there are so many good products that are on the line. I mean, obviously we've got guys here online that have developed really good stuff, really good products, and um, we want to be able to provide ours at a reasonable price that's that people can afford. We feel like our products are good, um, and bring more of a realism to the flight sim community, and we want to make them within reach of our customers and not gouge them
Yeah.
of their hard-earned money, because everybody's working hard out there nowadays. So
Yeah. Yes, sir. Well, that's is incredible of you guys. Um, the those aren't just. I mean, you don't just do that though. I mean, recently you guys announced that you had released an update for REX Essentials for not only FS, which is by current standards an old product, and I think I'm sure there are people using it, but probably very few, and yet you go ahead and do an update for that product, not only for FSX but for FS9.
yeah, well, actually a year ago, around Christmas time, we released a soft clouds package for FS9, because it just really makes it look really great. Yeah, we support our products as long as we've got them going as much as we possibly can. Um, you know, we're actually going to be putting on another hot fix for the FS 2004 product here soon, because there's
Uh,
another change that took place with the weather aspect of things, but not hugely. But yeah, I mean, people are buying our products, and as long as we're able to, we want to continue to support them as much as possible. Each product is really kind of a history of our knowledge, so to speak, and each product shows a growing of our ability to expand further in a new area of the
sure.
flight sim. But each product is still very good. Like, you brought up Rex Essentials. There's still cloud textures and water textures and features of Essentials that I love to use over
Yeah.
Texture Direct, even though Texture Direct, there's a lot of things I like about that. And we get a lot of feedback from our customers on a regular basis. And, I would say, Essentials, being, even though it's like 4 or 5 years old, still sells just as much as Texture Direct does.
Sure.
And
Well, that's
they're
that's
both very
surprising.
strong. Yeah, they're both very strong products. And FSS2 Rex for FS 2004 still sells. I mean, it's people still get it, and we're going to continue to support that for our customers. So
Well,
yeah,
that's incredible. I mean, pretty much everybody. I'm sure there's a few out there, but pretty much everybody has stopped supporting FS4, and I'm not too sure how many companies would support a product like you're doing with Essentials. But I'm glad that you do, because I had Essentials for a very long time, and I'm like you. I love the textures in Essentials. And there's only one other thing I wanted to mention, just very very briefly, before we get to this incredible product. Is I was very pleased to hear that REX created a method by which somebody who has the standalone version of Texture Direct and has the standalone version of Soft Clouds can go on the website and essentially kind of, I don't know, you put it better than I do, but self upgrade or massage himself into this Texture Direct Soft Cloud bundle.
yeah. Well, we've got when we released Soft Clouds about 2.5 years ago, we had a lot of people that wanted to be able to integrate the two together, and we promised that we were going to do that, and we developed a integration package where you can do that. So if you're if you have soft clouds and you have Texture Direct, the first thing is obviously we ask that you upgrade them to the most current version. But also, there is an integration package available on our forum out there to be able to integrate soft clouds into Texture Direct, and it will just require the license that you purchase for the standalone version of soft clouds. And there is also a purchase version area, a version out there that you can purchase. So if you wanted to just have the soft clouds and you already had Texture Direct, you can go out on our different stores that we're selling on and actually purchase the integrated piece also. So there are abilities to do that. So
and for somebody who might be wondering why this is a big deal, if I have Texture Direct soft clouds and I mean Texture Direct and I have soft clouds, who cares if they're integrated or not? Well, the big difference here is that when you save your themes or you share your themes with other people, and this is if you phone a fly shared cockpit, this makes a big difference because it's all about immersion, right? And I mean you already have the realism, so it's about realism and immersion, as Stephen was saying earlier. So you want to be able to share those weather themes so that you guys, for the most part, see the same weather. I mean, I've been on countless flights where I saw the exact same cloud as my co-pilot did, in the exact same place, doing the exact same thing. So, and the weather radars look exactly the same. That doesn't always happen, but it happens more times than not.
Yep.
And so this is why this is important. And besides, people like to share and use themes in the community, whether or not they fly share cockpit or not. So.
Well, just a point on that. The other day, I was just looking at Texture Direct, and we have what we call banks in there. So it's like a bank of like 4 or 5 themes in there. I think we're well over 4,000 now, or something like that. You just think about it. That's just. I mean, people utilize it. We never realized that people would actually utilize those kinds of themes in a community aspect, but they do. I mean, it's huge. Right. It's important to people. So.
Hey, it's all about community. It's all about community.
It definitely is.
And the racing community. There's a online, and offline too. But I mean, car racing community where they do what I do. They have to go out and they buy the steering wheels and the rudder pedals and or not rudder pedals, but the accelerator and brake and clutch and shifters, and they spend oodles of money, more money than I probably spend on flight sim stuff. And but they have meets. They get together. I'm not talking about conferences like what we do in our community, but I mean they have like every weekend where they all get together, and this is like international. Boy, and we could learn a lesson from that because they've not been around as long as we have. And so it's all about community, And I just want to say that at OVPA, we feel very strongly about community, and that's why we opened up our doors to the community. So. Well, guys, we have gone. I'm so sorry. We're glazing right over an incredible product that I said would touch everybody in flight sim. Wow, how do I do that? Well, it's a little lack of sleep, but
it's lack of sleep. There you
go. So let's get that queued up and talk about this thing. What I have here, Reed, is a slideshow, and we're showing the airport textures that you were kind enough to provide.
Yeah, this is when we were at Flight SimCon this past June. We announced 2 products. One was the Skyforce, and then the second one was kind of a sneak surprise, so to speak, because we didn't really have been talking about this at all. Was the Worldwide Airports HD product, and basically, I'll be honest, firsthand, I'll tell you these screenshots. Really don't even really truly represent the product that's going to be coming out, because we have done and gone through and made a lot of changes even since we did that show. So what we're going to be showing, soon, probably in the next couple of months or so, will just blow your mind. What we've done is not create a third-party airport by any means. What we've done is we've completely revamped all the default airports within the flight sim. Now, that does not include the 20 extra kind of unique airports that Microsoft did earlier on in the package. We're going to be touching those after we release this product. But this particular product touches all the airports, and makes them more realistic looking, makes them more fresh and renewed. They don't look pixelated or anything of that nature. When you're taxiing past a terminal or something, you see the lights shining through the glasses and so forth. There's depth into the airports there. Like this, some of the pictures there, it looks like there's a 3D, like you can almost see through it. We've gone to great detail to try and make these airports look more realistic. And it's not just one package. We have a variety of different hangars and buildings and facilities and small buildings, and we touch every aspect of that on there. We also, you really can't notice it here but on some of the pictures you'll see some of the changes with the actual textures of the ground too. We've now gone through all the airports and now have created this immersion of the actual texturings. With our previous airport textures, they've been really cool, but they've not really clearly matched between taxiway and runway. Well, now we've changed all that, so now we kind of brought a third-party kind of view to all the default airports. We've also done a few other things that we're not quite ready to announce yet, but we'll be announcing those later at a later date when we get close to releasing. But it's going to bring new life to what's been kind of old looking. So
that's really cool. That's really impressive.
It is. Yeah, I tell you, wow.
Yeah, there's going to be some new stuff that we're doing to it. Like I said, there's a couple of things I can't share yet. We're excited to share, but we can't share. But let's put it, if you're part of the VAs, you're going to be really excited about it.
Fantastic.
Yeah, we're looking forward to getting this out. We're getting close to finishing up development on both these products, both Skyforce and World Airports, and we should have those probably hopefully by the end of the year. That's the plan.
Wow.
The end of the year is going to be a really busy time. We're all punting for the end of the year for all of our products.
Yeah, man. Get it out there by Christmas.
Yeah, you're looking at 4 of the most stressed out people in flight simulation right here.
Oh, yes, stress is not the word for it.
Well, thinking about it, every single one of us is actually planning on releasing something in December.
Well,
Games, Aerosoft, us, Airline to Sim.
I think there are many women around the globe whose Christmas presents are going to be cut down because the budget's been blown on flight simulator products.
That's it.
Exactly.
Yeah. Expensive.
Everybody's going to be going, gee, how can I squeeze more money out of my pocket? No, but I'm really excited. I think, I know we've got this topic coming up here pretty soon about talking about the future of flight sim, but I think all of us here kind of touched on the basis that flight sim's not dead by any means whatsoever.
Absolutely.
There is a true
because we wouldn't be making this stuff for it if it was.
Right,
you wouldn't be getting new products left, right, and center if it was dead.
That's right. And you know what? I one of the viewers asked earlier if we were basically getting too fragmented with all the different sims that are out there. I think you kind of stick with what the kind of simming you want to do, and I don't think we're too fragmented. I really don't. I mean, here in the States, we have Ford and Chevy. Some people are a Ford guy, some people are a Chevy guy, and if you're not one of those, you have GMC. I mean, so I don't see us as fragmented, and I don't know. Stephen, you've probably looked carefully at this kind of stuff. Do you really think it's too fragmented?
As somebody in the community, I don't, because I think there's choice and there's legitimate reason to use one sim over another. I do think sometimes people get too hung up on what they're using and defend it to the hilt without good reason.
Yeah.
As a developer trying to create a new sim, I think it's incredibly fragmented, and they should all migrate to Dovetail Flight Simulator. But we'll see.
Oh boy.
Good answer.
Yes, sir. Let's see. We have got we got to get down to some business real quick before our viewers disappear on us. We got to give some prizes away, and I am very happy to do that. Let's see. We got a question. Let's see here. I'm just making sure I went through all of these. REX question? Okay.
Is that who you're with now?
Yep. Okay. Alrighty.
The first two are new people.
Okay. Gotcha, Kev. All right. Does the new REX product work with Active Sky? Right, the new REX product. You're talking about Skyforce, I'm assuming. Does it work with Active Sky 2016 or replace it? That's a great question, Brian. That's Brian Crawley from Nottinghamshire, England. Did I say that right?
Yeah.
Nottinghamshire, yeah.
Well,
Sort of.
not ham.
For American.
Yeah. Close enough.
Well, I'll leave that one up for interpretation. No, I'm just kidding. It's, we're not going to. It's up to the user, really. It can be, the purpose of Skyforce is not to be limited to just a Rex platform only. It can be used with our competitors. It can be used with default. And basically, Skyforce is being built to be supported from FS9 all the way through, Steam Edition and Prepared 3D. So we're supporting all those platforms. It can be used with any default weather engine or any third-party weather engine that's out there, whether it's Rex or somebody else that's out there. So we're not. We want to make it available for everybody to use. It will obviously work the best for Rex. One of the things we didn't really talk about, Dave, was the fact that we are working on our own weather engine, Weather Force. Also, we're working on Environment Force, which is takes advantage of some real-time, on-the-fly type technology that's never been done before. That's been a long time in the process of development. That will only enhance the product even more so. So all that will be integrated into these products so that they can utilize them and so forth. So to make a long answer short, I guess is the way to put it. It'll work with any product that's out there.
Sure.
So Reed, can I just clarify this, that Skyforce is not a weather engine?
That's kind of a hard question to answer. The details of it is this: it does have a weather injection process within it. Let's say if you do not have because there are so many varieties of cloud types that are there, okay, and they vary based upon weather conditions. We have integrated it with our Rex Edge servers so that it will actually read real-time weather and change the cloud models as you fly along dynamically. So it will change, like if you're within a huge cumulonimbus calvus type cloud situation, and then now you're going into the backside of the cold front, and you're going to have more kind of a cumulus look, so to speak, or something like that. It will modify the cloud texture or cloud models based upon that process. So we actually have three modes. We have a static mode, which basically you can just inject the clouds, turn everything off, and just go fly. We have that real-time sync mode, which is kind of what we have, what I just talked about, and then we will have a weather engine attached to it, or you can utilize someone else's weather engine, so it has kind of like a weather engine injection mode to it.
Okay, all right,
yeah,
that makes sense.
But the weather engine will not. Our weather engine will not be coming out at the same time that that Skyforce will at this point in time. That'll be coming down the road.
Okay.
Still finishing up some technology on there.
So it's basically an extension to the weather engine.
Yeah, it is at this point.
One quick thing, Reed, is X-Plane still on your radar?
That I get that question asked a lot of times. The question and the answer is yes, but obviously our focus right now has just been has been FSX and Prepared 3D. It's not that we don't want to develop for X-Plane by any means whatsoever. We did for X-Plane 9, which was very successful. X-Plane 10 was a totally different type of process for us, so we were not able to take what we did in X-Plane 9 and bring it into X-Plane 10 and make it better. We were in touch with the developers there at X-Plane 10, or well, obviously they're both the same developers, but there wasn't a lot of how do I put it? The focus on X-Plane 10 at the time was kind of elsewhere and not so much on the weather aspect of it when we were talking with them, and we just felt like, okay, we're going to hold off on this for now. And so we've been monitoring it and seeing how things are going. So our hopes are that when X-Plane 11 comes around, that we'll be able to move back into that field with them and take advantage of any kinds of new technology that they bring forward. We would love to be able to do stuff with them. We think it's a great platform. We see a lot of potential with it. Just
I
like
think as PMDG are looking at their whole product line in X-Plane, I think that's going to bring a lot of more people to the X-Plane platform. So I mean, I definitely see. I mean, this is probably touching on something we're going to come to, but I definitely see X-Plane, I think, as a platform with a lot of potential for the future, as you do.
Yeah, I do too. I mean, again, it's there's so many different programs out there. You've got obviously what Dovetail's doing. You've got what Prepared 3D's doing. You got X-Plane. There's so much different potential out there. I'm hoping that that we'll be able to take advantage of all the tools that they provide. So.
Okay.
Hey
cool.
guys, listen. I think we need to do this again, but we have gone 2 hours over budget, and I could talk forever. But I got to get these prizes given out, and
okay.
So and it's rather we have actually more questions. And what I'm going to do, guys, for the folks watching the stream, what I'm going to do is I'm going to forward your questions to the developers and allow them to get back with you individually, or of course you can always go to their forums. But if you've asked a question, then we're going to ask you to stay on the line with us, whether it's been asked on the stream or not, and we are going to award you a prize. And that cutoff is now. Don't send any more questions because it's just not going to happen. All right. So, we've gone. It was a 2-hour broadcast. We've gone 2 hours over. I think that's great. I want to do this again. We're probably not going to wait a year. We're probably going to do this sometime in the next 3 months, and we've got something really special brewing here at OVPA, kind of along these lines. And I can't really say anything about that right now, but some really special stuff. So if you're interested in that, come see us, or certainly register on the website. Guys, I want to thank you, and also Mathis, who had to leave, but I want to thank you so much for your time. I'm new with working with Stephen, and Stephen, it has been a sincere pleasure, my friend. It really has.
Likewise, I've really enjoyed it. Listening to the guys and being in the middle of it. It's been great fun.
It has, and you helped it to be. And for Ben, Reed, and Kevin, I think you guys are princes. I really do. The things that you do for the community. Certainly, you're in it commercially, but I know where your hearts are. I really do, and we thank you so much for supporting the broadcast and for your support overall of the community. You guys do great and incredible products that we're looking forward to seeing.
Okay. Well,
our pleasure. Thank you.
Fun.
All right.
Yeah,
so,
definitely being here.
Guys, if you've asked a question, even if it wasn't asked, please stick with us, and we're going to get you sorted out. And I'm going to let these guys go, get them back to work, making good products for us. Thank you so very much, guys. I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
All right.
All right.
Bye now.
Cheers, Dave.
Bye.
Yeah, bye.
Bye-bye.
Yes.
Okay, so we're going to get to giving these products out, and thank you so very much for your patience. Okay. Okay, guys, I'll be right with you. Yeah, because you said we only had 15. Yeah, so I'm gonna get them all.
We have,
I'm gonna get them all.
I think this is all of them. Or did I miss anybody?
Okay, baby. Then I can take it from here. Thanks for bearing with me, guys. We had to sort some things out, and we have got everybody's name now in a box, and I will put my webcam back on so you can see what's going on, and we will get these names out and we'll get these products awarded. Thank you so much for your time and patience. We really appreciate it. And by all means, you know what? If you want to send us an email, let me know how you like the broadcast. Yeah, I know we're not perfect, but we try. And not bad for having 3 hours sleep in 48 hours. That's exactly what happened on this end. So great. Let's see. Just getting a list of products out here. And I think I said something about turning my webcam on. So bear with me and I'll get that done. So while I'm typing this in, I'll just tell you guys what happened. So, you know, the Windows update, anniversary update, nailed me between the running lights exactly 48 hours before this shindig. And so I had to get everything loaded back again. It's just a nightmare. I mean, we're talking probably 2.5... oh my goodness gracious, about 5 terabytes of information had to be loaded manually, and because the image went with everything else for some reason. I don't know why that is. Okay. Video capture device. There we go. We're in. Alright, so we'll get this going.
Yeah, the intermission's still playing. Didn't hear a word from the team.
You would think I could do a better job, but
After 4 hours sleep, it was Dave. The broadcast, it was phenomenal.
well, thank you, man. Thank you. That's very kind.
Everybody in here has been saying it that was in and out.
Well, that's very kind of all of you. Then I really, really appreciate that.
Yeah, my first time listening. Very impressive.
Well, I thank you. Okay, so, and do we have Mr. Fazil with us in the voice server? Or is, I'm probably looking for an email from him. The next winner.
I don't think so.
Yeah, it's okay. The next winner. Hold on. The next winner is Lars Nielsen. No big surprise there. He may be in a couple of times. So Lars, if you just want to send me an email, and I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to get the list of products up here on the website, so that, or in the stream, so that you can pick from them. Just give me 1 second. Well, I actually don't need to do that because all the developers are right there. So it's any product that you want from any of these developers for their first two drawing. So just shoot me that email, guys.
Dave, do you want to resend them emails back out that they want? Or
no, the rules were that they would be on the broadcast. I don't know if that's fair though, because we did go 2 hours over. I don't think that's fair. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to send everybody an email, and I'll tell them I'll tell them the order that I drew their name, and we could do it that way. Guys that are Peter and Rob and Mr. Crawley, did you guys ask questions? Just tell me now. I could look, but I'd have to open up all these little things that Evelyn scrunched.
Yeah,
up.
they did. Everybody
Yeah.
did.
Okay, so let me.
Just not me.
Oh. Yeah, I did ask a question, and then I spoke direct to Kevin.
Yep, I do remember. I absolutely remember. So, okay. So, all right, the better way to do here is I'm just going to go through these names real quick. Just give me 1 second, guys. And I got your names, so that's good. Okay, so Michael B.
And on that note, I will be back.
All right, Michael B. And that is Michael. She's got general written down here, but Michael B. And Sebastian Clevens. I know I'm not getting your name right, my friend, but Sebastian Clevens. Send an email to the same place you sent your questions. And Sandro Vitellini. And Michael. Yeah, Michael Roz. You're going to have to tell me how to say that, Michael. Actually, I don't know if that's Michael or Mikhail. I don't know if that's our friend Michael. No, I don't think it is. Actually, it's Maikel Rossminger. Ross, I'm sorry if I'm not getting it right. But yeah, shoot me an email. Or we'll shoot you one. And then Jared Braddock. Martin French. Tom Riley. Andrew Farrell. Joseph Masor. Peter Horn. Okay, last name Dravin, Dravin. Phelan, I can't get it. I'm sorry. And I see you want something from REX, so I don't think that's going to be a problem. Just shoot me an email.
I'm back, Dave.
Thank you, brother. Almost through the names.
Good.
Well, you did great, Tony. Everybody, Tony has a thankless job not being on the air and doing all the work. He and my wife actually did a great job. Good teamwork, great teamwork. And I can't thank you enough, Tony.
Oh, hey, like I said, glad I could help.
You did wonderful. Brian Crawley.
And Brian's here.
Yeah, I'm in here.
Wonderful. Oh.
I kept wondering, I'm like, did I not move that email in the answer questions folder? I forgot your wife was doing it too.
Yeah. Vladimir Nadsty. I'm sorry if I don't get the name right, but Vladimir.
That name doesn't ring a bell, Dave.
It doesn't. Because I think I think we're covered on that. It's because he was one of the guys we couldn't get to because we were going over so late. So we're going to hook him up. Bob Skip.
Yeah, he's in chat as well.
He's here. He's typing.
Absolutely. And Rob Bindles.
Right, I'm going to disappear, guys. It's nearly midnight, so I'm going to depart.
Oh, my goodness. Okay, well, Peter, brother, what product do you want?
I've sent you an email.
Ah, perfect. We'll get it to you as soon as possible. What we have to do is we get your name and contact information to the developer, and they get it out pretty damn quick. So you will have it probably by Wednesday. If you don't have it by Friday, give me a shout. Just shoot us an email, and we'll check on it. Thank you so much for participating, Peter. We really appreciate that, brother. I hope you come back and fly with us, too.
Absolutely, Peter. You're welcome always to come back. When we're online, pop in. Dave and we're probably always about here, right, Dave?
Yeah, yeah, no worries.
And,
that'll be an honor, more than likely.
Well, wonderful, brother. We'll look forward to you coming back. Tom Campbell.
And I put from FSFX FS packages, but the chase plane if possible. But that's obviously further down the line being released. But
yeah, I don't. Yeah, sure. I don't think that's a problem. But we'll certainly double check with them about that because I don't remember. Yeah, no, I'm sure that's fine. Yeah, chase plane it is. And Jamal Weston. And Michael.
Anyway, night, guys. I'll speak to you again soon.
Good night. Good night.
Good night, Peter.
Good night, Peter. Thanks for coming.
No worries. Bye-bye.
Michael Goldberg.
Good night, Peter. Thanks for coming.
No worries. Bye-bye.
Okay, I think it's Wojciech, GozdieWSCI. So it could be a K. It's my wife's writing. GOZDIEWS, either a C or a K, I. And first name is Wojciech, I believe. Come on the voice server. Tell me how bad I slaughtered your name. That's tell me how to say it. And Luca Leader, or Lighter. I apologize. It's probably Lighter. So what's taking me so long is my wonderful wife didn't want me cheating when I pulled names out, so she folded these things up like I'm so tired. That Japanese paper folding thing. What's it called? Yeah, Arma. What? I don't know. Peter Horn again. Email and voice. Well, 2 winners for Peter Horn.
Hello, hello.
Hello and welcome.
Thank you.
Paul Blumenfield.
Dave, did you call Rob B on the stream?
Not yet. I'm saying this both on the voice server and on the stream at the same time.
Okay.
And this is Mads Grenham.
When you get a chance, look for Rob Bindles, emissary@gmail.com. He said he thought he's heard his name called on the stream.
I think I did call it. I think it was one of the first ones. Anthony Richardson. But I'll look right here real quick. I'll be happy to do that. Anything for my fellow flight simmers, you know that.
Hey, by the way, this was my first time listening into your broadcast, and I was absolutely enthralled.
Well, thank you so very much. That's very kind of you to say. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Hey, you're welcome, man. Just one thing, I was trying to email for one of the prices that you're offering, and the contact OVPA button kept sending me to my Gmail and wouldn't give me an address. So I missed out on that one, but I was still entertained.
Oh, well, tell me again what was happening. I want to make sure we don't have that kind of problem.
I think you were saying, I think it was after the Dovetail interview, you announced that the first 20 people to email you would get a copy of Steam Edition. And okay. I tried clicking on the contact OVPA button at the bottom of the broadcast screen, but it kept opening my Gmail account. And I thought it was going to redirect me to and fill in the address, but no address ever came up.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, it should open your Gmail account, but it it should auto-populate with our address. That's interesting. It's been a week for computer problems. The website went down a few days ago. Actually, the whole server. Well, they have a whole host of servers. It's 55 million websites,
Right.
and they all went down at the same time. And we had some issues with ours as well. And then of course my computer just might as well just set fire to it, man, because it was. I mean, I'm telling you, it's like almost. I think it was almost 5 terabytes of data. Oh my God! Yeah, you have no idea. So the last 48 hours, I've been sitting here at the computer. I got 3 hours of sleep the first night, but then we had the broadcast. Is either postpone doing the broadcast or get her done. So I sat here, all that time just recovering data, loading new loop. Oh man, this is a hassle. So,
Hey, Dave.
Go, brother.
Dave.
Yeah, go ahead.
Rob Bindles wants to know if there's a list of what he could pick from for his prize.
Yeah, it's right on the stream. Any product from REX Simulations that they currently have, or 50% coupon for any product that comes out in the next 12 months. And if you listen to the stream, you know that they've got 2 heavy-hitting projects coming out, scheduled to come out. Before the end of the year. So, airline to sim, same deal. You got their cadet training course, any product they currently have, and a 50% coupon for anything that comes out in the next 12 months. Majestic software, 1 Pro version is available, or 2 pilot versions. Imagine Sim. Now, I'm going to be honest with you guys. I'm not kidding. I was not kidding on the broadcast about these guys. I'd be jumping all over that scenery. I mean, out of all these products, they're all wonderful. Imagine Sim, man. You get Atlanta or LaGuardia, and I'd go for Atlanta. That is kick butt. 6 Aerosoft for grabs. Any product you want at Aerosoft. FSX packages, it's a little special deal here. They're giving away 1 of each of their products. Just 1. So pick a product that you want and you can have that one. And then Dovetail Games, of course, 20 copies up for grabs for FSX Steam. So that's your choices.
So I know it's kind of late in the game, but what exactly is the email address? I know you probably have like hundreds of emails to answer that offer for Dovetail already, but I'll still throw in my email.
That's okay. The email address is questions.ovpa@gmail.com.
Okay, good deal. Well, let me go get on that right now.
Yeah, and you wanted the Steam version, right? We'll get that to you.
Yeah, I was looking for the Steam version. Oops.
So I'm sorry.
Actually, Dave.
Yep.
There's only 2 I put in the folder for Steam Edition offers. So.
Okay.
I didn't know if you saw I added one.
I did not. I'm so glad you did.
Hey, I was on the ball, man. As soon as I heard it, I'm typing away.
Brother.
Trying to figure it the hell out. Like, how the hell do you add a damn folder in this thing?
You are always on the ball, man.
No, I wouldn't go that far.
I would.
So, as a newbie, let me ask, how often do you broadcast? Once a week?
No, well, we stream all the time, and we have a broadcast like this once a year, and but we're gonna start doing it more often. But I got to be honest with you, it's one of those deals where it takes 2 hours of work for 10 minutes of video. It does. It really does. So.
Yeah, I got you.
And let me tell you, for the last 2 months that I know of, Dave has been busting his you-know-whats, trying to get this done, and then his computer crashed, Windows messed him up, and I mean, it was just, I wish I could help, but there was nothing that I can do. He did an awesome job getting everything back to where it was. I mean, like you said, there was a few things, but It was just phenomenal.
Well,
Right,
thank you,
right.
brother. Thank you. Yeah, we do this for the community. We don't make anything out of this, or I don't even get any software. Well, that's not true. I get software all the time from developers because I work with a lot of them. But yeah, yeah, we do this for the community because we love you guys. We want to see the community grow.
Well, good deal, good deal. Well, in the spirit of full disclosure, I think I should let you know that I do fly for a fairly new virtual airline called flyvirtual.net.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, good for you, man. That's wonderful.
Do you usually talk? Well, I don't know. This is the first broadcast I've listened to, but have you covered the world of virtual airlines on your programs already?
No. No.
Or do you just do like interview from people from professional developing software and this kind of thing?
Well, we have pilots on the broadcast. I already have the lineup for the next one. I'm not going to tell you who it is, but I already have the lineup. And well, because it could change, But I already have it. I we have people. Frankly, we have a waiting list for developers and people of interest in the community to come on, and that's great. And so yeah, but it's just people that want to help out or do things for the community. And I keep talking about community, but that's what this is about. That's the one thing in flight simulation that is missing. And I promise you, there's not a corner of flight simulation I am not privy to.
Right.
So when I say everything, I mean everything. Is community, and that's what we do here at OVPA. So, if you're the kind of person that likes people, you're not a loner, and you want to be involved in a community, then consider OVPA, because we do. I promise you, we do things here that nobody else is doing. So,
awesome.
But we're not looking for members either. I mean,
I'm just going to be an active listener and participant when I can.
Okay, that's great. Come fly with us too. Yeah.
All right. Currently, I'm doing a tour for my VA, so I'm trying to finish off this tour.
Sounds good.
As soon as that's done, I'll be free to do some other flights.
Okay, so let's get to these products. Let's get them wrapped up, because I'm gonna have to run.
Okay. Well, I just sent the email, so.
Okay, I got your Steam. Let me just double check it here. Hold on. And you'll find everything I told you about Steam is absolutely true. And there's some things I didn't tell you about Steam, like the optimization they did with the processor thread management and things like that. Right. So reduce.
I'm a bit familiar with. Yeah, I'm a bit familiar with Steam. It actually doesn't crash your system as much as the box version does. I've been trying to get my brother interested in switching over, so I'm getting this one for him.
Great.
Yeah. He's still on FS 2004 because FSX will not run on his system smoothly. Oh man.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you very much. Okay, getting all these emails in. That's wonderful. Okay, so I'm going to try to sort them all through. We got the Steam handle. Let's get the guys on the voice server here first. Anderson. Did we call
Anderson, yes.
Did we call your name? Oh, no,
I'm sorry?
That's the Steam version. I'm sorry. Who's the guy below you? I don't remember his name being called. Mr. Crawley.
Hello.
All right, buddy. What can we do for you?
I would really like the Imagine Sim Atlanta.
Outstanding choice, man. That aircraft airport is incredible. All right, let me get this typed up.
It looked fantastic on the stream.
Yeah, it's even better in real life. You'll love it. You'll really love it. Tony and I fly out of there all the time, shared cockpit.
Must be Atlanta.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's great. Okay, and the email address that you used was what?
It was brian.crawley57 at btinternet.com.
You got it, my friend. Look for it around by Wednesday. If you don't have it by Friday, send me an email, same place, same email address, questions.ovpa.com. And but I don't think you'll have to worry about it. We've never had that happen before.
That's lovely. Thank you very much indeed. I have emailed to you also.
Wonderful, man. Well, it's nice meeting you, and enjoy that scenery. And if you don't mind, come back fly with us.
Oh, absolutely.
Good deal, my friend. Good deal. Okay, Rob. Are you here?
Yeah, he's here. He's on text. I know he is. I see.
Oh, okay, great. Yep. You're right. Okay, Rob. Type in your email that you use to send the question, please. I mean, I have the other guys. They already sent me an email. I mean, I probably have it. Let me check. This is the part that always takes the longest. Now see, I don't see Rob's name. I know it was Bob, right? It's under Bob. I remember seeing the name. I just don't. He hasn't emailed us to say he. Oh, he texted us. That's what he did.
Yeah, that was Rob Skip. He's gone to bed.
I'll send him an email. All right, let me write that down.
Yeah, Rob Skip went to bed. Rob. Yeah, can't even talk. Rob B is here.
Okay, anybody else on the voice server I did not call on that sent an email question in? Besides Rob.
Good evening. My mic
Rob.
works.
Okay, Rob, what's your pleasure, my friend? Any product from REX Simulations or a 50% off coupon for any new product that comes out in the next 12 months? Any product from Airline to Sim, the pilot version or the pro version of Majestic software, and Imagine Sim, any product they offer, but all my recommendations would be Atlanta. Any product that Aerosoft offers for flight simulation, any product that FSF packages offer, or a free copy of Steam.
Okay. I go for the Airline 2 Sim Q400 Cadet.
Excellent choice. You're gonna love that, man. You're gonna love it. You really are. Okay. Let me get the email address that you used to send your question in. So, Rob, what was that email address?
The email address is emissary@gmail.com.
You got it, my friend. You're all set.
Okay, thank you.
No, thank you for coming and participating very much. We really appreciate that.
Yeah, I learned a lot. Thanks.
Hello guys, it's Sandro here. You chose me as a winner, and I didn't really understand how it works now that I could get the prize. And I want to thank you very much for this beautiful stream.
Well, you're very welcome. I'm working it out, guys. Hang with me.
No worries.
Was there anybody on the voice server left?
Yeah, I'm in the voice server.
Sandro, yes, okay.
Sandro Vitellini here.
I'm sorry, say that again?
Sandro Vitellini.
Yes, sir.
So you chose me as a prize winner, and I didn't completely understand how it works now.
Okay, well, what you do is you have your choice, basically, of here. I'm gonna put it up on.
So I can choose a product now.
Yes.
Oh, thank you very much. So if it's possible, I will take the FSFX packages chase plane.
Actually, that one has already been selected.
Sorry, I can hear you very bad.
Okay, yeah, that's the one product that was already, I believe, selected. Let me check.
So I have to choose something else, or what?
Yeah, I'm just double checking. Hold on. It was done by Peter. Wasn't it? Let's see here.
Because I sent you an email right when you chose my name. I sent you the email with my request for the product.
Right. Okay. 1 second.
But it's no problem. So if it's a possible.
No. Well, yeah, it was Peter Home got in ahead of you, my friend. Oh, Peter Home is yeah. Horn. Peter Horn is going to get that.
Okay.
So I don't think Peter's still with us. He was on the voice server too, I believe. But all right, so Sandro, let's get you a product, my friend. Hold on. So what other product would you like?
So, I don't. So the FSFX package is not available anymore.
You can get the Precipitation X, the 737 immersion, the 777 immersion, the upcoming Dash 8 immersion. It's not released yet, but it will be soon. You know.
Okay. Then I will take the Dash package, please.
Okay, great. Now do you understand that has not been released yet? So
yes, I understand. Yes, but
okay.
If you can arrange something, it would be very, very great if I can also get the alpha version of the FSFX package chase plane. But I'm just asking.
Well, it didn't hurt to ask, but no. Sorry about that.
Darn, that was my next question too.
OVPA actually has a team of beta testers that works with several different developers, a lot of different developers, and we also review products. We do, you know, and but we can't give out that kind of stuff, and neither can the developer, just because you know, for about a number of reasons actually. So, but it didn't hurt to ask. Unfortunately, I got to say no to that one.
Yes, because I was just asking because Kevin from FSFX packages has stated that he will give away alpha versions to the people who listen to the stream. But it's okay. It's okay. I will take the dash.
Okay.
That's great.
Well, I didn't hear that, but
No problem. I saw it on his Facebook page, but it's really okay. So I don't.
Okay, yeah. As far as that goes, just contact Kevin.
Yeah. I think I will contact him and ask him if it's possible. But thank you very much for your stream tonight. It was really great pleasure to watch. Thank you very much to your whole team.
Well, you are most welcome. I hope to see you again.
Yeah, definitely.
I just had a second email there.
Okay, I'm going to go down the email list now. Mr. Campbell. Would you like to email me the product that you would like?
This plane's getting kind of low. It's almost time to land.
And guys, I'm going to step down in this other room and take care of the guys on email. But I'd like to say thanks again to all you guys for participating, and I hope you come and fly with us.
All right, sounds good, man.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Great job today.
Thank you so much. You guys are very kind, and I really appreciate that. So, all right, y'all take care and have a great rest of the weekend. And Tony, you can come down with me, or you can stay up here, or whatever you want to do, brother.
Yeah, I'll come down real fast and I'll head back up.
Okay. So I'm not going to transmit this stuff to the email guys. They've been so patient, and I really appreciate that. But they're listening to me on the stream, and I guess I could just email them back too. I don't know. This level of tired, you go like, what do I do?
I don't know how you're still moving. I really don't.
Okay, so Tom, if you're with me, if not, I will email you. Michael B. Michael B. Well, one of the many guys I couldn't pronounce his name. His email is at renaissancedirectory.com. I'm not going to give the first part out, obviously, for privacy, but I didn't get his name. I got his email, but I don't have his name. I need his name. Sandro is already taken care of. Peter is already taken care of. Lars, I bet you're not here, buddy, but if you are, what do you want? Oh, go to Dovetail Games. Okay, I'm sorry, Lars, you're cool. At least one of your prizes, Dovetail Games, you got it.
Hey, Dave.
Yeah.
You called Tom Campbell, right?
I did.
Okay, I just wanted to let him know.
Okay. Okay. Brian Crawley. He would like ATL. He got it, Brian. You're already in. Okay, yeah, you're already done.
You finished?
Yeah.
Oh, the kiss went well?
Tom, if you can hear me. Hey, Tom said the Majestic, but he didn't say which one, the Pilot or the Pro.
Okay, I will add.
Guys that are maybe just checking in, we're just doing prizes awards from our drawing, and it's the part of the broadcast that always takes the long. Well, I don't know. It doesn't take as long as our broadcast. We're pretty long-winded today, but anyway, I'm gonna give you something to look at while we do this. See if I can do that without wrecking anything. That would be just terrible. There we go. That's something great to look at. So we're just doing product awards. Good old, actually good new Atlanta. All right, so Jamal hooked you up, buddy. I mean, yeah. 820. Okay, so Luca, if you're still with us, buddy, 8320 immersion. The 8330 is not available. I wish that it was. I'd be flying it today. Well, maybe not today, but soon.
Hey, Dave.
Yeah. Yeah, go ahead.
Tom Campbell says he will take the Pro.
Okay, fine. So, Freak. You know what? Freak Guitar. Gotta use your real name, man. Gotta use your real name. That kind of can't award product. That's what I say. Okay, Luca. Let's see. Sorry about that, Luca. You're all right.
Dave,
right.
You had an email from, I guess it was Freak Guitar.
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. And that's Luca, right? Yeah.
Yeah, that's Luca. Right. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
in the chat.
Yep, we're good. Okay, I'm going to shut down the stream and handle via email with everybody from this point forward. So we will be in touch. And if you you should well, once we receive confirmation from you, we will get it to the developer. If we get that this weekend, then you should have the product by Wednesday. And if you don't have it by Friday, give us a call. But we're going to tell you when we have it all worked out. You'll know that. So we're happy to do this. We really appreciate everybody's time, and we hope to see you again. Y'all take care.